One Piece: The Legend of Creation, Chapter 701 to 720. 701 8,000 streams of good intentions. Alright, everyone has their own predestined relationship, and the matter of going to the Spirit King realm later is not a part of Grimjow's current strength, and they don't even have the qualifications to watch it. Instead, going to the Great Void Forest in the Void Circle is the safest. Liu Chengkong returned to Lu Mansion and pondered for a while, then put all his thoughts down, and accompanied his wives in the Soul Realm and played crazy for 3 days and 3 nights, during which even Yicho Kiryu and Sophie, even it was Kurosaki Natsumi and Kurosaki Yuko who joined Calais. After all, they are all still young, with so many big sisters to accompany them, as well as the guidance and care of their dead mother, although the sadness brought by the loss of their relatives in their hearts has not completely disappeared. But in the Bachenliu, this led by the little Loli, the 2 girls also began to smile occasionally. Bachenliu was obviously satisfied with his 2 playmates, and even in order not to want them to grow up so fast, he even turned them into gods of death. The growth cycle of gods of death is very long compared to humans. There is no 100 years that it is impossible to completely grow from a little Loli to a girl. Of course, there are certain parts such as Bachenliu who are strong and do not want to grow up. Their body will not grow again, unless Bachenliu himself, if she wants to decide to grow her body will start to grow again. From this, it seems that Bachenliu is really good intentions for her 2 things. Have you decided? Will this be too risky? Although you can fight the world laws of this plane with all your strength now, this is really a bit. Today is the night of the 3rd day. Liu Chengkong, Mao Zhawali, and Sophie Marceau's 3 daughters were negotiating in an office in Lu Mansion. I don't know which one is better. In the long run, you are doing very well in the sky. If you succeed, you will definitely be able to kill multiple birds with 1 stone and accomplish multiple goals in an instant, but it's just too difficult. Sophie frowned. She actually agreed with Liu Chengkong's plan in her heart, but it was too risky. After all, the situation on their side is good now, and there are as many as 3 Wangshu-level powerhouses. Although Sophie has just become a god of death, it has not been long since she awakened Zanpakuto to learn the skills of the god of death, and she has not even learned the abilities of disintegration and emptiness. Therefore, she is currently ranked among the 5 of Liu Chengkong, Mao Zhawali, and Wang Zuling. In the end, even so, Liu Chengkong still had an overwhelming advantage. Steady work, although it will take a little longer and there may be more variables, but even if the probability of success is definitely more than 80%, she is hesitant. Although we have a huge advantage, which one of Wangshu and King Ling is not a peerless hero who has existed for countless years, if they can't be solved at once, they will definitely be killed instead of being killed. Who knows what will happen? If there is any change, if you want to make it die, you must first make it crazy, and I have great confidence. Quote. Liu Chengkong's eyes were bright, and his adventurous spirit never disappeared, because his strength was actually earned through hard work. In his opinion, he could lose everything, even his strength, but that the spirit of being brave to fight and to be adventurous must not be forgotten. Otherwise, your own achievements will definitely be difficult for the card owner to make progress in his entire life. Chengkong, you are right, I have fought with them for so many years. I never believe that they will still have reservations between life and death, and the hidden cards will definitely be revealed. That being the case, it might be better to follow the method you said, but the first thing to determine is what kind of moves you will regain after fighting against the laws of the world, since you have the confidence to do such a risky thing. A hint of curiosity flashed in Mao Jihuli's eyes. Obviously, she agreed with Liu Chengkong's decision in disguise, but before that, Liu Chengkong must show her ability to convince her completely, otherwise Mao Jihuli would never allow Liu Chengkong. The sky is so adventurous. After I reached the level of King Shu before and found myself having the power to fight against the laws of the world on this plane, I found that the ability on the plane of One Piece, King of Pirates, has begun to be possessed again. But maybe I don't have the strength to completely break the laws of this plane world. So I only have a part, but this part just has this trick that gives me the confidence to fight. Liu Chengkong said with a chuckle, His eyebrows were full of ecstasy and confidence that could not be concealed, as if he was very satisfied with the ability he had recovered. Could it be? Sophie Marceau thought that when she and Lu Chengkong came to this opportunity, she should have led her to become the god of death and Lu Chengkong to become Zanpakuto, but later, because of Lu Chengkong's transformation skills, Lu Chengkong's strength surpassed that of Sophie Marceau in a short period of time. So in the end, Lu Chengkong became a god of death with great luck, and she became a Zanpakuto. Thinking of that ability, coupled with Lu Chengkong's confident appearance, she could definitely lead to that. What? Mao Zhawali, who had been calm all this time, was suddenly aroused by curiosity. After all, this was about Lu Chengkong, and she would only look like an ordinary person when she faced Lu Chengkong. His wife and mother, of course, want to see what support his godson has as her husband. It's hard for you to believe what I said, so let your godmother see it for yourself. Lu Chengkong smiled proudly, and only he can make Mao Zhawali act like an ordinary woman, expressing joy, anger, sorrow and joy. Of course, this is only the case when they are alone. Usually, even in the face of Lu Chengkong's other wives or walleye, he will maintain a loving, generous, and graceful bearing. After speaking, Lu Chengkong immediately released the powerful ability that let him walk sideways in the world of One Piece, King of Pirates after a long absence. Gun. 5 minutes later, the closed door creaked open, and Lu Chengkong took the lead and walked out, followed by the two girls, Wu Zhawali and Sophie. You can see that the three of them were all relaxed and confident smiles. The ability Lu Chengkong showed to the two girls in there just now made them very relieved. Otherwise, it will not be the case. After all, this time is different from usual, facing the Spirit King and Wang Shu. Even if they have a great advantage, if they are not careful, they are still very likely to capsize in the gutter. I didn't expect you to have such a powerful ability in the sky. Hee, you must study it for me after this. Wu Zhawali was very happy, and the smile made people feel warm in body and mind, as if the whole person had been washed. No problem. Lu Chengkong might have reservations about other people, but of course he wouldn't mind his wife and godmother, Mao Zhawali, who helped him a lot and made him trust him wholeheartedly. I also know that Wu Zhawali likes to study all kinds of peculiar tricks. Lu Chengkong not only did not have any reservations about this, but hoped that after some research, Mao Zhawali would also be able to develop a trick similar to his own. The stronger Mao Zhawali was, the stronger Lu Chengkong would be. 701-702 Knife pointing to the Spirit King realm. After the Aizen incident, the Soul World, which had been calm for a period of time, ushered in the day of chilling again today, and it was countless times stronger than the chilling atmosphere at the time of Aizen. Almost the entire Soul World was quiet. Many the gods of death are all ready to go, ready to enter the battle at any time. Because today the most powerful legendary death god Lu Chengkong, the most powerful god of death in the Soul Realm in the past dynasties, actually pointed to the Spirit King realm where the Spirit King lived, just like a challenge to the legendary Spirit King style. The powerful Reiatsu made the Shinigami of the entire Siraiti feel their determination. Husband brought me, I also want to see what the Spirit King realm is like. Zibo Kong said coquettishly, hugging Lu Chengkong's arm. I also want to bring you, but this time I'm not going to play, and I don't have full confidence. It's too dangerous. With your strength, you haven't even reached the peak of Captain Reaper, peak of Vastord. You don't have the strength to protect yourself. How can you tell me to take you there? The weakest members of Team Zero are all the juniors of Scrito. If you go and get injured, your husband won't be distressed to death. Lu Chengkong politely rejected Zibo Konghei's request, and joked that he would take her to distract her to protect her. A little spillover would be enough to kill her, how dare you take it? Okay, I have already discussed with Zhang Sky about the candidates in the past, because I want to leave some powerful people here to guard against accidents, so there are only a few candidates to go in the end. Yi, Nailu, me, Sophie. There are also Chengkong and Bachenliu. There are only so many, too much is inconvenient. Maoji Walai showed the majesty of the harem administrator, and she kept a gentle smile, but as soon as her words came out, even Zibo Kong calmed down, so Lu Chengkong couldn't help but give Mao a smile behind her back. Zhawali gave a thumbs up. Tongsheng, you stay here to help Luanju. Landau will open the murderous stone and all the defense systems and barriers. These barriers are set up by me, Zongkong and Sophie, even if it is Wang Shu and Spirit King. The powerhouses of the rank cannot break through after a few days. Quote. Mao Zihua said eloquently, that all the details were arranged so that no mistakes could be found at all. After this period of time, Luanju got along with her and taught her, and it is obviously the best when she is away. The decision-maker, so she kept her and chose to bring Saifeng Yuan Yi, who was weaker than Luanju. Although Halibal and the other women who didn't have the chance to go, didn't demand it, they could only blame herself for not being strong enough, and Luanju obviously knew why Ujawali made such an arrangement. Not only was she not discouraged, but she was very happy. Because only she can get this, and only she can make Lu Chengkong feel at ease. The frustrated Halibal, Zibo Kong and other girls also knew that this time was not going to play, but it was very dangerous, and they also had their own tasks, so they would protect the base camp, so they quickly packed up their emotions and nodded in response. Hey, don't miss me on such a fun thing. Zanaki Kenpachi stood outside the door at some point, leaning against the door and holding a bottle of ice wine, said very casually, the madness and fighting intent in his eyes sparkled. Obviously, he is full of desire for the Spirit King realm, which has gathered many talents and powerful death gods in the Soul realm for countless years. Anyone in it can satisfy his desire to fight. How could he miss this opportunity? He knows very well that his path is to fight and kill. Only in this way can his strength improve faster. Kenpachi's Xinxing is definitely much lower than others, because his Zanpakuto ability determines his cultivation path. Only fighting, fight frantically, use the blood of the enemy to pave a path to become stronger, and make yourself stronger by stepping on it. I can't do without you. Lu Chengkong knew for a long time that Kenpachi Zhengmu would come. If he didn't come, it wouldn't be Kenpachi Zhengmu. Seeing that he was all ready, Lu Chengkong took a breath, his eyes in front of him. The girls swept over them one by one, and finally only 4 words gathered, wait for me to come back. You're back, I'll be your girlfriend. I don't know why, but Kiryu Hazun probably doesn't want to leave any regrets. If it was in normal times, she would never say such a thing. Without the pursuit of hundreds of years and getting along with her, he would not say this to Lu Chengkong. But now she doesn't dare to say that Lu Chengkong will come back safe and sound. In order to motivate Lu Chengkong, she completely ignored Zibo Kong and other women's coaxing, and came to Lu Chengkong with a teasing look. Just relying on your words, I will definitely come back safe and sound. Lu Chengkong felt the love of the beautiful woman, and he also understood the thoughts of Yuzhou Kiryu. Seeing the worried look of the girls, he felt warm in his heart, and secretly waited for me in his heart. I will never lose. Open the passage. Lu Chengkong closed his eyes, and when he opened his eyes after a while, he was no longer sentimental. Some of them were just Ji Yujing Bubo's eyes, which flickered with cold light from time to time. The visible speed brush turned into a magic knife, directly entering the Benkai state, ready for battle. Mao Jihuali didn't speak, and took a step gently. The jade hand stretched out to the sky and waved as if writing. The jade finger burst into a ray of light. Following the wave of Mao Jihuali, countless tadpole texts were formed. General. Although the Spirit King closed the Spirit King realm, Mao Jihuali had lived in the Spirit King realm for a while, so how could he not leave behind, and soon a black passage had appeared. Benkai. Ujawali let out a low voice. The Zanpakuto didn't change in the slightest, it didn't even pull it out, and the Reiatsu didn't spill out at all. Followed Benkai when he saw it. His eyes had turned scarlet into blood, and Saifeng Yuan Yaiki didn't know where he made up the dagger-like Zanpakuto, and it had turned into a sword that looked very similar to Long Yuan's sword. The heavenly demon sword of darkness was held in his hand. I also want Benkai, Benkai. All things are in my hands, the Queen of Dreams. Seeing everyone's liberation of Zanpakuto and entering Benkai state, Bachianryu seemed to find it very interesting, and it was the first time he was in front of everyone. showing off her Zanpakuto Bankai. Shikai and Kaji's Yakanryu don't seem to have any difference. It should be said that there is no difference between Zanpakuto, because after Shikai and Bankai, Yakanryu does not have Zanpakuto. Mom, I'll show you my Bankai later. It's very powerful. It will definitely beat up those bad guys from the Zero team. Bachinliu waved his pink fist, and he looked like I was very powerful. The look of you guys watching carefully later made the serious atmosphere liven up, and it also made the sadness in the hearts of the girls lessened a lot. It's really a pistachio in Lu Chengkong's harem team. 702-703 Surprising Wanderer. Big brother. Just as Lu Chengkong and the others were about to step into the passage, a timid voice came from behind. Lu Chengkong turned his head and found that the Kurosaki wanderer who was following Kurosaki Masaki didn't know anything. When he came to Lu Chengkong, he stared at Lu Chengkong with watery and timid eyes. What's wrong? Yuko Kurosaki, Lu Chengkong, was very fond of Kurosaki Yuko, who was more likely to evoke Isha when he was simply cute, so he squatted down and asked Kurosaki Yuko. I know that it was you who avenged your father and brother and killed that big bad guy. I heard from my mother that it was very dangerous for you to go this time. The wanderer doesn't want you to die, and he doesn't want your mother to be unhappy. As long as you come back, the wanderer will marry you and become a new beagle. Okay, Kurosaki Yuko said as if he really didn't understand anything, but he said surprisingly innocently. Hee, my brother will definitely come back safely, just for the sake of having this little beauty, a wanderer, marry me. I will be able to rush through and come back to marry this beautiful little beauty. Lu Chengkong didn't seem to know what it meant at this moment, as if he was simply making an agreement with a little loli, causing Kiryu Hazun and the other girls to give Lu Chengkong a big white eye. Even Kurosaki Masaki, a mother, doesn't know whether to be angry or to laugh. She can see that Lu Chengkong's eyes are clear as water when looking at Kurosaki Yuko, but she really loves Kurosaki Yuko, which should be very high. Shinkai is right, but what the two of them said was so ambiguous, and it was Kurosaki Yuko himself who proposed it, which really made Kurosaki Masaki both angry and laughing. Uncle, I don't want my mother to be unhappy, and I hope you come back alive. Kurosaki Natsumi is more rational than Kurosaki Yuko, but after getting along with her for a while, she has also integrated into the Lufu family. Therefore, in addition to the name that made Lu Chengkong feel ashamed, her concern still warmed Lu Chengkong's heart. Although she said that she didn't want her mother to be unhappy, the hope in her eyes was not an idiot. The last correction, don't call me uncle, although my age can be your grandfather's grandfather, but don't you see that I still look 20 years old? Lu Chengkong's forehead was covered with black lines, and Kurosaki Natsumi's words suddenly made all the girls burst into laughter, and the laughter of the girls in Lu's mansion made the world pale, but unfortunately no one except Lu Chengkong appreciated it. Arrive. I'll consider calling you that when you come back alive. Kurosaki Natsumi hesitated for a moment, and then said, obviously she also implicitly expressed that she hoped you would come back safely, but this was never so easily expressed in front of others. Kurosaki Natsuri, who had her true emotions, didn't say it directly, but Lu Chengkong could still feel her feelings. Don't worry, I'll be back. Lu Chengkong only felt that he was full of energy, as if he had infinite power in his body. After speaking, he stepped directly into the passage. He didn't want to turn around again, Mao Zhawali, etc. The women glanced at each other and walked in as well. As for Zaraki Kenpachi, he couldn't wait to rush in as soon as the passage was opened. Husband and the others have gone to the Spirit King realm. We must not let them worry about the future. Everyone is ready to do their part. Although there is no chance that someone will attack, we still have to be vigilant until the husband and the others come back. The weak, such as Rukia, Feijun and other girls, followed Ninmeng in the laboratory of Lan Island, which is one of the safest places in Lu Mansion, and it is not so easy to break in. With many secret magic weapons prepared by Lan Dao. As for Kunanbai and other women whose strength surpassed Vastord and reached Skrito, they gathered together under the leadership of Matsumoto Renku to discuss how to distribute and join forces if they encountered a battle. Did you go? Time flies so fast. How long has it been? He is now a god of death who can fight the existence of the Spirit King level. Although the old man knew that his achievements were limitless, he didn't expect it to be so high. Unattainable. Of the old man Yamamoto and Vivi suddenly opened, and he said with a sigh, Kuchiki Shanghai. Hirako Mako and other captains who were standing beside him also sighed, and Hirako Mako and Kuchiki, who were most familiar to Lu Chengkong Shanghai blessed Lu Chengkong in his heart. They didn't go because they could resist when someone from the Soul Society came to attack, and they were just a burden to go. They might as well stay in Saranje, and if someone came here to attack, they could resist and help. It is also one of the arrangements of Ujawali. Obviously, Ujawali knew that Lu Chengkong was very precious to his wife. In addition to letting Matsumoto Ranju organize the girls to protect themselves, he also prepared a lot of backups. Captain Hirako Mako and other captains were one of them. King Ling and Wang Zuzai after himself and others went to the Spirit King realm. Basically the top masters stayed in the Spirit King realm to meet the enemy. Come here to sneak attack on Lu Chengkong's base camp and catch some of Lu Chengkong's wives to threaten Lu Chengkong's death, or there is a limit to how strong he is. Just relying on women such as Matsumoto Ranju and Hikun Kiryu is enough to deal with it, but it's better to prepare more for everything. Is it better and safer? Don't be afraid even if you encounter a gang fight. Is this the Spirit King realm? Lu Chengkong and the others passed through the passage, but what they entered was an island like a sky island standing in the sky. Inside was simply another searing palace, in addition to the powerful death god of Team Zero. There are many ordinary death gods, and of course there are many captain-level death gods, but most of them are at the level of 3 or 4 seats. It's actually an island that stands in the sky. It's really eye-opening. Zaragi Kenpachi exclaimed in amazement, but he wouldn't be so amazed if he had seen the Sky Island in the world of One Piece, King of Pirates. Xiaokong, let's make an island like this in the future, okay. Bachin Liu tugged at Lu Chengkong's big hand, then pointed at the island above and said pretty. Okay, as long as Bachin Liu likes it, let's make an island that's bigger, more beautiful, more solid and flying higher than this one. Of course Lu Chengkong agreed to this, saying that he suddenly released a powerful force. Reiatsu crushed the countless gods of death on the island into serious injuries at once. Fortunately, the members of Team Zero gathered together to release the spiritual pressure to resist, and the Spirit King also released his spiritual pressure within this second. Otherwise, not all the gods of death in the Spirit King realm would be seriously injured, but almost all of them died. But even so, the gods of death below the strength of Skrito lost their combat effectiveness one after another. Even many members of the Zero team vomited blood, but fortunately, they combined the spiritual pressure of all the Zero team members in a special battle to form a single force. A more powerful spiritual pressure to resist. Otherwise, even if they were in a coma with serious injuries, they would not be lucky enough to vomit blood. Of course, the most important thing was the reason why the King Spirit blocked them in time. 703-704 The Battle of the Spirit King Realm begins. Okay, I'm not going to look for you, but you dare to come to me. It seems that you really think I'm easy to bully. The figure of the King of Spirits suddenly came out of the sky, and appeared in front of Lu Chengkong with a swipe. His eyes swept over when Lu Chengkong, Maojawali and Sophie's 3 daughters changed their expressions slightly. The 3 of them gave him the feeling of strong pressure, but this pressure was divided into strong and weak. Obviously, even Sophie, who put the least pressure on him, was obviously a powerhouse on the same level as himself. Now it's troublesome. It's no wonder that the Spirit King is at the same level. If the distance between them is not very close, it is difficult for the other party to deliberately hide their own strength. It is difficult to feel the pressure directly from the soul, so even in the Spirit King realm. The Spirit King who was separated by a distance could not feel the strength of Sophie and Lu Chengkong. Previously, when Kurosaki Ichilong fought against Lu Chengkong, they were separated by a certain distance. Although they saw Lu Chengkong's powerful strength, at most they thought that Lu Chengkong was the peak of the Void King at most, and some special abilities made him. He burst out with powerful combat power. After all, When Lu Chengkong was the Void King, he was able to burst out the strength after he and Wang Void merged. This is the first time in thousands of years that someone has actually knocked on the door. Even a scheming Spirit King is very proud. Therefore, he came out directly in anger. In his opinion, after he made a breakthrough, even if he couldn't defeat Ujawali wouldn't even think about cleaning him up in a few strokes like before, so I never thought that I would not be able to get out of my body, so I came out so swaggeringly. Growled loudly. The result was a big surprise to him. Not only did Lu Chengkong, the little pervert that he secretly listed as a must-kill target before, reach the Wangshu level, but even the woman he met for the first time reached the Wangshu level. So that he couldn't help but have a depressing thought in his heart. When did Wangshu, the powerhouse of the Spirit King level, become a commonplace? The breakthrough you said is a breakthrough. However, this idea was suppressed by him at the same time as it appeared. Now he is already thinking about how to escape. In a thousandth of a second, he has already made a decision, that is to immediately go to Wangshu and drag Wangshu into the water. He is sure that if Wangshu sees himself being besieged by 3 Wangshu and Spirit King level powerhouses, he will definitely hide and watch himself be beaten to death before jumping out, risking being seriously injured in an instant. Take away the dying self, and swallow it. He had a feeling that not only did he reach the peak of the Spirit King, but Wangshu also did the same. If he swallowed himself, he could definitely reach the Spirit Void level at once. This breakthrough was not comparable to the strength he brought when he merged with him. The difference is simply incomparable. That's why he was so anxious to find Wangshu. Before, the two of them had been together and secretly discussed many times in order to prevent Maojawali and Lu Chengkong's revenge. Of course, the two sides could easily find each other. King Ling thought of this at once. Lu Chengkong, Maojawali, and Sophie were all thoughtful people, especially Maojawali, who was as meticulous as dust and discerned. She was so obvious. How can not see? Before they were arguing, just arguing a little. In the end, after Lu Chengkong was able to fight against the laws of the world, he showed some of the abilities that the One Piece King of Pirates world brought back to the world before he completely convinced Ujawali to agree with Lu Chengkong's method. What they want is to force the King of Spirit into a desperate situation, and then seriously injure him, wait for Wangshu to come out, and then seriously injure him, and then let the seriously injured Wangshu devour the King of Spirit. Wangshu, who has a wild personality, was unstable when he just broke through. With a strong strength, he will never think of any idea of running away, and he will become even more arrogant. If he wants to kill him, he must first make him mad. Lu Chengkong, who understands this truth, certainly knows what to do, and then he will devour Wangshu after the Spirit King. Beat. What Lu Chengkong wants is to devour the strongest Wangshu, instead of letting them fuse or devour them separately. Lu Chengkong doesn't want to wait any longer. He wants to surpass Wangshu's level at the fastest speed, then swallowing a spirit can already break through. The existence of the law of the world is undoubtedly the fastest. What he wants is to quickly break the law of the world, release his wives, and at the same time meet the requirements of Ujawali for plane travel. Of course, Hulimao and Sophie knew how dangerous this was, so the two girls tried their best to stop them, but in the end they were told by Lu Chengkong that everything I did was earned through hard work, and the spirit of hard work must never be forgotten. Of course, the most important thing is to agree to see the ability that Lu Chengkong showed. I want to go. Lu Chengkong has always wanted to see how strong he is after breaking through to Wangshu level. Although he has Sophie and Maojawali by his side, how can he let go of everything wholeheartedly in the face of the two women go to fight, and the Spirit King in front of him is obviously a good experimental subject. Anyway, the Spirit King is going to die. Of course, it is a waste. He dares to guarantee that Wangshu is definitely nearby now. Because he guessed that the King of Ling did not know when he knew that he and others had come to the King of Spirit Realm, and he had already notified Wangshu in Wangshu Realm in advance when he was facing 3 Spirit Kings and Wangshu level powerhouses. Where did he think that the mutual notification that he had negotiated with Wangshu before the launch of his conditions would become his own reminder? Seeing where King Ling's eyes are rolling, he still doesn't know where he is resigned and wants to escape. He wants to find Wangshu and drag him into the water. Where would Lu Chengkong give him this opportunity? The storm came very fast in front of the Spirit King. Lu Chengkong's strongest speed when he was at the peak of Skrido was barely comparable to Wangshu, not to mention that he has reached the level of Wangshu now. Wouldn't the speed of Pakuto's Spirit King be too fast? Lu Chengkong is also better than a lot, so what is the possibility of escaping? This kid was so fast when he was still weak. I knew that he would be a threat sooner or later if he didn't get rid of it, but I didn't expect it to be so fast. King Ling glanced at the still-moving Ujawali and Sophie, and then glanced at Lu Chengkong who was constantly attacking him. He didn't know how he wanted to use him to see how far his strength was, if that was the case. He was also relieved. There is only one person, and he is absolutely not afraid of Lu Chengkong, who has not broken through for a long time. After all, he has now reached the peak of the Spirit King. Could it be that he can't beat Lu Chengkong alone? It was absolutely easy for him to break through his defense and escape, but he soon became depressed. 704-705 versus Spirit King. Fantasy is beautiful, but the truth is often cruel and unacceptable. At this moment, the Spirit King deeply understands the meaning of this sentence. He thought that Lu Chengkong would definitely be injured in a head-on confrontation with himself. After this pervert cut off contact with Sophie, he devoured all the power of Zanpakuto, and his strength soared again. It is not much weaker than him at all. His violent thunder and lightning are often crushed by Lu Chengkong's whirling storm, and they are resolved one by one. Moreover, he found that he was entangled by Lu Chengkong and wanted to retreat. It seemed really unusual, easy. Disintegration, endless sky thunder, stand on my body, sky thunder light slash. Lu Chengkong, who found this, didn't want to waste time. He planned to enter disintegration at once, and use the instant of disintegration strength to frantically improve Lu Chengkong forced back. When Lu Chengkong then entered the disintegration and came to pursue him, he believed that he had already retreated. But what made him depressed again was that when he shouted the disintegration word spirit, there was not the slightest difference in time. Lu Chengkong, as if he could read minds, actually entered disintegration at the same time, and his thoughts were shattered again. Disintegration. Divine wind moves, heaven and earth change, 10 directions kill, mysterious wind emerges. Lu Chengkong coldly issued to the Spirit King, as long as the two bastards, Spirit King and Wangshu, were looking for someone to sneak attack on him and his own. When he was with the family, he had already issued a must-kill order for the two of them. In order to understand the habitual fighting style of the Spirit King, he was looking for the Spirit King, and Wangshu, who had been fighting for many years, had a detailed understanding of the habit of the two, fighting style, etc., so it was so accurate in the when the Spirit King disintegrates, he disintegrates at the same time. This is not good luck, but experience. Wind and rain, rivers and lakes. Lu Chengkong uses his legs to generate wind, and the mysterious wind that fills the sky, more advanced than the divine wind, will only break down, and move violently, using the wind to drive the water, fire, and thunder between the heavens and the earth, and kick it with incomparably powerful legs. Spirit King. Tian Lei. The King Ling hurriedly retreated. This move was no trivial matter. At the same time, the incomparably violent Tian Lei immediately shot out from the blade of his Tian Lei Guangzan, hitting Lu Chengkong's leg all at once. Bang! The loud noise that shook the sky and the earth kept blasting in the Spirit King realm. The sound was so loud that there were ripples visible to the naked eye nearby. An extremely huge space crack has already appeared in the Spirit King realm. I believe it will not be used much. In human battles, the Spirit King realm will be crushed and destroyed alive. Death explosion. The Spirit King, who knew that he couldn't do anything better, even woke up to fight, otherwise it would be very dangerous, full of the breath of death, as if it was about to blow up, and the explosion that destroyed everything was like countless electric snakes facing Lu Chengkong. It shot away and hit Lu Chengkong all at once. These thunderbolts were different from the previous thunderbolts. They all exploded the moment they touched Lu Chengkong. The spiritual power fluctuations that bloomed at the time of the explosion caused most of the islands in the Spirit King realm to be destroyed at once. The 10 directions are all killed. Keep the move. Lu Chengkong let out a murderous voice in the thick smoke. Suddenly, the violent Reiatsu blew away all the thick smoke wrapped around him, and Lu Chengkong was hit. He wasn't injured, but the king spirit didn't dare, because he had already turned around and was about to burst out, obviously preparing to escape again. He didn't even have the will to fight. On the contrary, Lu Chengxi was full of fighting spirit. When comparing the two, the king's spirit was of course inferior, but King Ling had been thinking about how to escape from the very beginning, while Lu Chengkong had been thinking about how from the very beginning defeat the Spirit King. Moving the situation, Lu Chengkong sneered, his smile full of irony. If the Spirit King was as full of fighting spirit as himself, it would be really difficult to tell the winner, but now the Spirit King is all about how to escape. 10% the strength can also play a few percent. Lu Chengkong mobilized the power of the world and turned into a black tornado, ignoring the distance of the space, and suddenly came to the Spirit King. The black tornado was full of the power to destroy the sky and the earth and swept the Spirit King into it. Ah, damn, since that's the case, I'll kill you first, roared the earth, the Lion King, the arrow of thunder. Being caught in the black tornado, the Spirit King was immediately traumatized to a certain extent, and he also understood. Knowing that if I run away like this, I will definitely drag myself to death. In this case, it is better to fight the backwater. Maybe I can break the boat and find an opportunity to retreat at a critical moment. The black tornado pierced through the hole, shot and split, and then retreated from the black tornado. Returning to the blade, I will too. Lu Chengkong is very confident in his ability of emptiness. Perhaps many people will think that the use and comprehension of emptiness skills after breaking through the limit of the God of Death to cultivate is absolutely incomparable. The God of Death is strong. After all, the time immersed in the God of Death is much longer than that of the God of Death, and it is based on the God of Death as a starting point for cultivation. Of course, the ability of the God of Death is weaker than that of God of Death. Generally, after returning to the blade, their strength has been improved, and they continue to use the skills of the God of Death to fight. Unless they have survived for countless years, such as King Spirit, Ujawali, and some other members of Team Zero who have survived for a long time, etc. It takes a long time to fully grasp all the abilities of the Void and Death God, and then the horror of the Void ability will be brought into full play and applied to the battle. However, Lu Chengkong's comprehension in virtual skills is no less than that of Death, and the same is true for his research enthusiasm. Therefore, when he broke the world, he has been developing and using his virtual abilities to maximize the virtual abilities. Therefore, there is no shortage of time, and at the same time, he is very clear that Void's skills are much less than that of Death. Many virtuals use Virtual Flash as the strongest combat skill, and Virtual Flash is the strongest attack method for many virtuals, so even the God of Death admits to fighting in a situation where the strength of the virtual and the God of Death is the same level. The destructive power of Shu's use of Void Flash is definitely much better than that of the Death God, because Shu's ability is too small compared to the Death God, but absolutely every one of them is super concentrated and its power is amazing. It's too late to say that it's too soon. After the Spirit King used the return blade to turn into a lion-headed human body, Lu Chengkong also entered the return blade state and turned into a human-shaped ink unicorn. The strength also soared again, so the two fought again. Speed, it's so terrifying, it's hard to tell with the naked eye. Wherever they passed, either the violent thunder and lightning blasted the earth apart and tore the sky, or the mysterious wind full of rotating power cut the earth into countless pieces and was involved in it to completely destroy it, or the sky was smashed into pieces. Countless pieces of space debris. Not long after, the Spirit King realm suddenly made a huge vibration, and it was completely shattered and returned to nothing. 705, 706 8,000 streams show their might. My Spirit King realm, damn bastard. The Spirit King realm really hit a real fire this time. You must know that the Spirit King realm is not the only island standing in the sky. There is a large land under the island, and many gods of death are among them. Life, This is one of the capitals for him and Wang Shu to compete for hegemony. Now that the Spirit King realm has been destroyed, the gods of death who have not reached the level of Skrito will absolutely all fall. Not only that, the Spirit King realm was developed by him with many years of time and energy. Although the scope is far less than that of the Soul and Soul realm, it is not comparable to the Void Circle, but it is definitely the last blessed land. Could he not be angry if he lost it? Very angry. Don't be afraid, since the Spirit King realm is destroyed, then you, the Spirit King, go with you. Heaven and earth are in the same heart, breaking the divine state. The Spirit King realm was destroyed, and of course fell into the broken realm composed of many spaces. And it is just right here to let Lu Chengkong let go of his hands and feet. The Spirit King realm can only be a small space at most. Where can you withstand the battle between them? You must know that Wang Shu, Spirit King level Shu and Death God both have the strength to fight against the laws of this plane world, but it depends on how strong your strength is. Therefore, the most suitable place for them to fight, apart from the virtual circle, is to break the world. As for the wives of Lu Chengkong in the soul world, they are all there. Xiao Lingting, he is also a little worried, and now it is just right. I saw Lu Chengkong's whole body spinning at a very high speed, and then it turned into the atmosphere and flowed into the sky and the earth, concentrating all the power between the heaven and the earth on the right foot, and suddenly appeared behind the king of the spirit, and kicked it directly. The place directly kicks the nearby space into countless pieces of space. The law of the world wants to repair it automatically, but it cannot be repaired at all under the oppression of the violent power of the world. This piece of space that has been kicked has remained smashed. Oops. After all, the king spirit is the king of the spirit. After the initial anger passed, he immediately calmed down. At the same time, he also thought of his own situation, knowing that he would really die if he went on like this, even compared to life. There are countless Spirit King realms that can't compare. After all, there is nothing left. As long as his life is still alive, how many Spirit King realms have been destroyed can be opened up again. The moment Lu Chengkong's right foot is about to kick himself, countless thoughts flashed in the Spirit King's mind, and finally he gritted his teeth fiercely. As if he had made some crazy decision, his whole body exploded with thunder and lightning, and instead of fleeing, he met Lu Chengkong. Ba Chenliu, Yaiki, Nailu, except for the Shinigami who is fighting with Zaraki Kenpachi, all the Shinigami of the Zero Division will be killed, and the Shinigami Yachi, the Shinigami mid-level and below, all of you. Swallow them up. You can devour all of the high-ranked Nailu, and you can help the two of them to speed up. Quote. Mao Zhawali glanced at Lu Chengkong who was fighting, and then said to Ba Chenliu and Siphon Yuan Yi, although Nailu doesn't like to swallow, but it depends on the object, generally not the enemy's illusion, even if she is at the same level or stronger than herself, she will not have the idea of swallowing it. But these were all Lu Chengkong's enemies, and Yi even recognized that some of them were members of the Zero Division who had come to the Soul Society to sneak attack on Lu's residence. Of course, Nelieru didn't feel uncomfortable at all. I was disgusted, and Nailu knew from Sophie that the King Ling almost killed Lu Chengkong by sneak attack when Lu Chengkong was still powerful. Thinking of this, Nellie Lu's eyes flashed with a faint killing intent, and her movements were extremely quick and agile. She knew that only by becoming stronger could she help Lu Chengkong, and these were all damned. As long as you wanted to treat Lu Chengkong, the sky is not good, and it should be damned if it is not good for the people you want to protect. Very well, it's not impossible for Nailu to reach the peak of Skrito or even the Void King now. As for Yi, she can also reach the high level of Skrito. Ujawali knew that Lu Chengkong asked Siphon Yuan Yaiki and Nelialu to come to make all the gods of death in Team Zero become a stepping stone for his wife to improve her strength. Originally, it was the best to let Matsumoto Ranju come, but she had to stay. Next, let Matsumoto Ranku, who is most at ease, preside over the overall situation there. In addition, the Reaper of the Zero Squad who has reached the high level of Skrito is only enough for Nelialu alone. If there is one more, it will not work, but I think of Wang Shu's guards in Wangzuji, and I think that they will attack Lu Mansion. Only after that, did usually completely determine the candidate to come to the Spirit King realm. Those Wangshu guards who went to Lufu will definitely become Matsumoto Ranju's tonic, a tonic for breaking through in strength. Then there is no reason for Matsumoto Ranju to come, and the death gods who did not get the high rank of Skrito just give them all the weaker strength only SK Rito's primary peak. The combat power is comparable to or even devoured by the Sefenjin Yei who can kill the middle-level Skrito. Look at me. Bachinliu smiled sweetly, with a sweet smile, and flew over like a dream elf, wrapped in a pink protective cover, Idea Wave Missile. The center of each one is flashing with pink electric light, and the blue light balls are continuously shot out from the hands of Bachinliu. The size of these Idea Wave missiles is almost the same as Liu Chengkong's 3-point return to vitality, and they are like pieces of energy. Like a ball, it was shot out by an Idea Wave missile, and immediately a member of Team Zero fell. This is still under the condition that Bachinliu deliberately suppresses the power. Otherwise, with her strength, none of the Zero team members present can eat a thought wave missile and save their body. Without their body, they would devour one fart, directly return to nothing. Therefore, Bachinliu deliberately suppressed the power, and at the same time killed the Zero team members. He would not blow up their bodies. Nailu, I just came here and we were all superfluous. Bachinliu solved it all at once. Sifeng Yuan Yi pressed his forehead and said with a headache. Yes, it turned out that as soon as he was invisible, Bachinliu had already shown great power, and the launch of the Mind Wave missile suddenly brought down the death gods of the Zero team. Ha ha. Nellie L nodded in agreement, but she also knew that this time was not the time to be distracted and chatting. It was better to finish it quickly, so she opened her lips lightly, as if she was using a flickering ensemble, and suddenly took a breath. All the bodies of the gods of death who had reached the high level of Skrito and died were smashed directly, and then formed a blue light that was sucked into the mouth by Nellie L. Nellie L's body began to burn with a golden pink reiatsu like a flame. This Reiki burst out like a storm, and the space where she passed seemed to be completely still, and was covered by this Reiki. The place was extremely quiet, and at the same time, the spiritual pressure on Nellie Alu began to rise at an astonishing speed. 706, 707 There are 8,000 streams at critical moments. Not only Nellie Lu, but Sifeng Yuan Yei, who stood not far from her and stood above the void, also had the same change. It seems to be a little bit short. It is an ironclad fact that Sifeng Yuan Yei has reached the high-level Skrito from the initial peak of Skrito. After all, Team Zero was built by the Spirit King for countless years, and many of them are the existences below the high-level Skrito. Now all these have become the nourishment for the Knight of the Sifeng Yuan. Can we not be promoted to the high level of Skrito? You must know that there are as many as 12 members of Team Zero swallowed by Sifeng Yuan Yei, and the 7 Skrito elementary levels make Sifeng Yuan Yei go from the peak of Skrito's primary level to the Skrito intermediate level completely stabilized. The next 3 Skrito intermediates and 2 Skrito intermediate peaks allowed Sifeng Yuan Yei to climb directly to the Skrito advanced and completely stabilized. On the contrary, Nellie Lu's side is slightly inferior. Although the strength of the Zero team members she swallowed is much more than that of Sifeng Yuan Yei, the number is too small. If it was so easy to reach the Void King rank, then Ikiryu Kurosaki would not be the only one in the Zero division under the Spirit King for so many years to reach the Void King rank. This is also because Ikiryu Kurosaki has the secret help of Wang Shu, plus the apparent help of the Spirit King, and she devoured Masaki Kurosaki's father, plus she has practiced for countless years and experienced countless battles. Only after reaching the level of the Virtual King, in addition to aptitude and heavenly shout, realm and luck are all indispensable. Now Nellie L has swallowed 17 members, 4 of them are high-level Skrito like her, and 3 are high-level peaks of Shrito, but even with Nellie L's talent, and her far beyond her peers, she is as stable as Taishan. It can be said that the only thing missing is the spiritual pressure that allows her to advance to break the shackles. Under such circumstances, Nellie Lu still cannot completely break the shackles, but it is only one step away from reaching the peak of Skrito. Can break. Obviously, the stamina is insufficient. After all, the spiritual power is all swallowed up. Although the spiritual power of the god of death is extremely pure, it is not as good as the way Nelia Lu has practiced. After being compressed countless times by herself, now she is constantly absorbing it. With continuous compression, the quality of the absorbed spiritual power is constantly increasing, but the amount is constantly decreasing. Therefore, the difficulty of breaking through in the required Reiki is of course greater, especially the purity of Nelly's own Reiki is far beyond the same level of Ku and Shinigami. It can be said that Nelly's savings are very powerful. It can be said that the stronger the savings, the stronger the strength after the breakthrough, even if the strength gap of the same level is still to a certain extent. This is also why some Shinigami and the Invincible Hand can sweep the same level, and some Shinigami and Shu can only survive for a while and then be killed against the powerhouse of the same level. The stronger the breakthrough savings, the better the improvement after breakthrough. However, for the same amount of savings, the more difficult it is to break through the god of death and the virtual, and the smaller the savings, the easier it is to break through. This is why many Shinigami and Shu do not choose to accumulate strong spiritual pressure and keep compressing it, and it is precisely because Nelialu's savings are too strong, so it is very difficult for her to break through, otherwise she would have reached the virtual level long ago, Wong level, because her foundation is too solid. Her Reiatsu is too pure and powerful. It can be said that Nelly Lu is a genius, and has always been a powerhouse at the same level, but at the moment of breakthrough, she has become a genius who is successful and who is defeated. It is too difficult. The bigger it is, the more spiritual power it needs. At the beginning, Chang Kong was completely fused with her strength, and at the same time, through Wang Shu's pressure, he realized the disintegration at the moment when the soul collapsed, and the soul reorganized at the moment of collapse, so as to be able to break through to the virtual king level. This shackle has stymied too many talents, and made too many death gods at the peak of Scredo die of old age. Quote, although the god of death has a long life, it is not immortal. It is just that the stronger the strength, the longer the lifespan. Unless you reach the level of Wangshu and the Spirit King, you will not be bound by the exhaustion of life essence. If you die, if you are killed, you can't count it, it's just a simple statement of how long you can live. In the face of Nellie L's current situation, even Sophie sighed, and now she is powerless. Although she is powerful, there is no way she can help Nellie L replenish her spiritual power at this time, unless she catches her. A few strong men from the peak of Scredo were swallowed by Nellie Lu, but the powerful Zero Team members here are all dead. How can she catch them? Fortunately, there are 8,000 streams at critical moments. Nailu, I have a way to transfer all of my strength to you, but I can't guarantee your soul, whether your body can withstand my strength. If you can't bear it, you will explode. Do you dare to try? Bachinliu didn't know when he flew to Nellie L's side, and a pair of pink eyes stared at Nellie L and said old-fashioned. Bachinliu has always been very serious when it comes to major events, and it also makes people feel I feel very reliable, and I don't have the usual childishness at all. I heard from my husband that disintegration is actually the moment when one's soul collapses and disintegrates. With the will beyond life and death, the will of Zanpakuto's spirit and his own perfectly overlap, and at the same time Zanpakuto's power and his own strength. Perfectly fused together, then shattered at the same time, and then reassembled. Although I have not faced a strong enemy, accepting your strength will also break my soul. Although the methods are different, the final result is the same. My husband said that his life achievements are not only a little luck, but he dares to fight. He dares to dance on the tip of the knife. I am the female knight who guards her, not the princess who is guarded by her. Come on. Nellie Elu showed a faint smile. Her voice was ethereal with a hint of firmness and determination, and a hint of madness. That's right, madness, like a goddess. She also let go of it like Lu Chengkong at this moment. No matter what kind of cultivation method or practice method, the cultivation ability, the cultivation path of the strong in the world, and the path to becoming stronger are all against the sky. Only by being brave and diligent, and daring to work hard, can you achieve success. What we do is constantly surpassing ourselves. Giggle, I knew you would do this. Look at me, and remember, at a critical moment, there are 8,000 Lu, and there is absolutely no problem with 8,000 Lu. Yachinliu laughed and joked, but but he was not affected by the serious atmosphere at all, making Nelly Lu, Hanaritsu Uno and Sophie both laughing and laughing. I saw that Bachanliu was talking and a shadowy figure like a dreamy queen appeared behind him, but it was blurry. Aside from seeing a slender body and a plump and bumpy figure, it is impossible to see her appearance at all, but it is undeniable that this indistinct Li Ying who appears behind Bachanliu is definitely a peerless beauty. Transfer your thoughts. After Bachanliu finished speaking, the pink light all over his body rose, and the shadow of the dream queen behind you suddenly merged into your body, Nelly L. Obviously, this dreamy queen-like beauty should be owned by Bachanliu. The name is the body of the Zanpakuto of the Queen of Dreams. 707-708 Strength comes from guardianship. At this time, all the strength of the Dream Queen carrier Bachanliu was transferred to Nelieru, before Nelieru's body did not burst, or Bachanliu did not take the initiative to withdraw it. Although Bachanliu is not like a little girl with no fighting strength, she has lost her spiritual pressure, Zanpakuto ability and virtual ability. The only thing that remains is her constant use of spirit for thousands of years. Press quenching improves physical fitness, physical strength and steel skin. In other words, Bachanliu can only be regarded as a terrifyingly high physical quality at this time. The physical strength is astonishing, and the little girl who is invulnerable by swords and guns cannot be regarded as a god of death or a void. Yeah, Nelly's face was very serious. She only felt that there was an incomparably surging spiritual pressure pouring directly into her heavenly spiritual cover. The degree of expansion was completely beyond her expectations. I tried my best to control my Reiatsu to reduce my aggression, but when I entered Nelly L's body, the control power of 8000 flow has been weakened by 80%. After all, she is now transferring the spiritual pressure to Nelly Lu, instead of putting the spiritual pressure into Nelly L's body to destroy her. The former is almost uncontrollable in two different situations. Fortunately, 8000 flow soul power is strong to deal with one or two, different from the latter. If it is the latter, of course, it can be perfectly controlled. It's a bit of a joke now. Sophie's face sank, and a little sweat appeared on her forehead. She had stayed in Lu Chengkong's spiritual world for so many years. Of course she knew Lu Chengkong's temperament, and it was easy to talk about it. But if it had something to do with her wife, if so, it would be miserable. She knows very well how much Lu Chengkong loves the female knight Nelly L. If there is anything wrong with Nelly L, if Lu Chengkong takes time to pay attention after he cleans up the Spirit King, he will look at it and understand, God knows this guy Wat will go crazy. Thinking of this, Sophie had no choice but to look at Maujawali with a pleading look for help. But unfortunately, she has always responded to every request. There is a way, she has so many abilities, none of the skills can help Nelly L at this time. Rather than interfering too much, it is better to wait and see. She also admires Nelly L, especially after knowing Nelly L's growth history. Of course she doesn't want Nelly L to have anything to do with it. You must know that Nelly L is also one of the characters that Uno Hana Lai admires. It can be ranked in the top 5, but she knows that the interference of external forces will be more troublesome at this time. For Nelly Lu, this is not a test and an opportunity, it just depends on whether she can survive. Liu Longmen has a bright future. If she fails, she will die. There is no free lunch in the world. The more you want, the more you will pay. Of course, the risk is also greater. If the virtual king is so easy to break through, the streets will be full of virtual kings. Fight. Nelly L never knew what it meant to be afraid, and she was never afraid. She was a person who moved forward and never retreated. Even if she knew there was a dead end, as long as she made up her mind, and her philosophy, what she wanted when it comes to the things she protects, she will never regret it, and she will rush over to fight even if she knows she will die. Bankai time shoots the gun. Nelly Lu shouted tenderly, and she no longer had any reservations about the Kiike. As soon as an astonishing scene appeared, even Sophie didn't expect that Nelly Lu's Zanpakuto was actually it is a dual-type Zanpakuto, which is a Zanpakuto with two different origin powers. Like Lu Chengkong's Zanpakuto, when Shikai was a snow drink mad sword, after Bankai not only has a magic sword, but also function legs, all of which are powers of different origins. Now Nelly Lou is simply blessed with a Zanpakuto that combines the two terrifying powers of time and space. No wonder she has never used it. It turns out that her Zanpakuto is not just a space-type Zanpakuto. Simple, but a space-time Zanpakuto that mixes time and space. Someone can master this kind of Zanpakuto. It's not as simple as being blessed by nature. Afterwards, I will master this Zanpakuto, and it would be strange if it was easy to obtain without many disasters. It's actually a space-time Zanpakuto, it's hidden really deep. Ujawali said in amazement. Her heart that was at odds and ends was completely stabilized. In her opinion, Nelly Lou Neng has survived the layers of catastrophe and now has the time-space Zanpakuto in his hands. If he were to die, he would die before he broke the limit. Then it is still possible to get to the point where it is now. Maybe other people's luck is absolutely illusory, but at the level of Ujawali, of course, I know that luck is not illusory, but uncontrollable. However, Maujawali really did not guess wrong. Nelly Lou was indeed jealous in the original history and suffered many disasters. Not to mention that she had cultivated to this point, and it was not long before she arrived at Vastord. Nelly L is kind and innocent, but she was kind when she didn't reach Vastor, but she would not be soft on the enemy who dared to hurt her, but it was a pity that she got Vastor. After Germany, she is kind in her own right, and she is also influenced by the symbol of spiritual power. It's a bit stupid to become kind-hearted. She is no longer in control of her kind heart, but is influenced by kindness. It's just that Lu Chengkong's variable interferes with her. I knew that I almost fell into catastrophe and could not escape. Especially after reaching Skrito and mastering the Zanpakuto Shikai and Bankai, she understands why she has suffered many disasters since she was a child, and the danger she has encountered far exceeds that of others. God is jealous. With such a unique talent and Zanpakuto, it would be too strange to say that there is no catastrophe and no need to go through a lot of catastrophe. Therefore, after understanding everything, Nelly Lou is not only not discouraged, but also passionate about her resilience and firmness. She will never admit defeat, even if the sky stops her. She will pierce through the sky and stay by Lu Chengkong's side. What Chengkong can do, I can do it as well as Nailu, and I will do better than her. Otherwise I will not be the female knight who protects him, but the princess who is protected by him. My strength comes from protecting the person I want to protect, the person I want to protect, the thing I want to protect. Quote. A silver light flashed in Nelly L's eyes, and a resolute color flashed past, as if she understood something. Nelly L, who has never gone astray and knows what her path is what it is. At this moment, the Zanpakuto in his hand roared loudly, as if responding to Nelly's heart. If Nelly L hadn't been shrewd in her heart just now, and had always kept in mind why she fought, became stronger for what, and controlled her power for what, she would have died. At this moment, not only was she completely convinced his own Zanpakuto made Zanpakuto willingly hand over all his power to her and integrate it into her power. 708-709 The Disguise of the Spirit King. Where is the time-space Zanpakuto so easy to be completely convinced and mastered, although Nellier can also Bankai, but it does not mean that her Zanpakuto is completely convinced of her, let alone handing all her power to Nellier do. But at the juncture of life and death, Nellielu has always insisted that she became stronger for the sake of protection, mastered the power for the sake of protection, fought for the sake of protection, and adhered to the belief in her heart, without flinching or changing her mind. Even if she died, Dao Shao did not degenerate. This situation completely convinced her Zanpakuto. Okay, Xiaokui, you finally admitted me completely. Nelly L said with a hook on the corner of her mouth, looking at the time with the mysterious pattern in her hand shooting the gun. Nelly L said. I said, don't call me Xiaokui, call me the spirit of time and space. An ethereal and pleasant voice sounded suddenly, and the weapon in her hand when Nelly Lu was in Worsterd was called Kui's gun, so even if it was awakened she met Shikai and Bankai of Zanpakuto, and she has always called her Xiaokui after Zanpakuto's name. She was very dissatisfied with her Zanpakuto, but she was only dissatisfied with her mouth. There was no dissatisfaction on the face of her Zanpakuto body. Instead, she seemed to be showing a happy smile because of Nelialu's performance at this moment. "Are you willing to fight side by side with me now?" Neliel turned her head and looked at her side. She didn't know when there was a girl named Xiao Xiao who was wearing the same clothes as her, and even looked 80% similar to her. The beauty of Kui said, "Needless to say, she is Neliel's Zanpakuto body, the spirit of time and space, but she is called Xiaokui by Neliel." "You are very good, you didn't let me down, your power comes from protection, not only false, but even the god of death, you must use me to make her the strongest." "Will not be able to use my power, now that you have passed the test, your heart has not changed between life and death." The beauty named Xiaokui said with relief, and at the same time, she and Neliero's bodies began to glow with green light, and the two rays of light actually merged into one, and at the same time Neliero's soul body unable to bear the huge spiritual pressure of Bachinliu anymore, it collapsed with a bang. "I'm back, Nilu, there's only so much I can help you. Don't die, or no one will play with me in the future. Although your body is bigger than mine, I play with you very well." Very happy. Although the originally weak Yakian Ryu disintegrated and disappeared, she was in good spirits, and it was obvious that all the power she had passed on to Nelly was back. "It's a big deal, Sister Wa, you're still laughing. When that little bastard knows that Ni reveals that he's not crazy, you should also know how much he loves his female knight." After Sophie saw that Neliel's body actually exploded and disappeared after a burst of light, she immediately looked at Izuki Hanari, but found that Uzuru Hanari was smiling. If it was someone else, Sophie would have punched him already. But she knew that there was definitely a reason for her to be so abnormal. After all, her knowledge and experience were definitely much higher than hers. "You haven't even mastered Bankai yet, of course you don't know what happened to Nilu just now." Izuki Hanari didn't know if it was intentional or not, but he picked out the thing that Sophie Marceau was most concerned about, and immediately asked Sophie Marceau to do so. Suo's face was embarrassed, and her teeth were rattling. It wasn't that she was stupid. On the contrary, she had an innate aptitude that was superior to others. With the strength of Wang Shu, would it be unpleasant to become a god of death? That would be really weird. On the contrary, Sophie Marceau is very good. Even if it is, Ujawali, Lu Chengkong and others are full of praise, but Sophie Marceau is not the kind of person who only knows how to be strong and desperate for a while. She is very clear about the importance of a solid foundation, not to mention how long has Sophie Marceau become a god of death. 3 days, 3 days, she has mastered Shikai and completely mastered it. At the same time, all the ghosts below number 50 have learned and used them skillfully in battle, and Shunbu has improved by leaps and bounds. As for the white fight, she used to be a master of hockey in the world of One Piece, King of Pirates. Her physical skills will it be bad. The speed of Baida's improvement is only above the Ghost Road, and it is exactly the same as that of Shunpo. For a person who has just become a god of death to achieve such an achievement in 3 days is simply to make countless gods of death secretly ashamed and feel extremely ashamed, but no matter what, Sophie became a god of death for too short a time, plus she has to lay a solid foundation. How can I make myself enter the country too fast? So where is Sophie's ability to develop and understand Zanpakuto, who has become the god of death for 3 days? It would be even more impossible for Bankai to understand the change in Neliel just now, but she is the proud woman of the sky. Of course, it is time to be strong. Now that she is told by Yunoka Lai, she can't say how angry she is, especially when she saw Ujawali's half-smile, as if a dark-bellied devil's face was looking at her behind her. It made her even more depressed and angry. "If you want to kill me, then let's die together, the thunder that destroys all living beings." King Ling saw that Lu Chengkong's terrifying kick containing the power of heaven and earth was about to kick him. The ruthless and decisive, not retreat but advance. There was a lot of thunder on his body, and the entire sky that broke the world actually fell countless thunder and lightning, so that Maojawali and Sophie, who was still depressed and still wanted to find Maojawali to settle accounts, had to let go Maojawali quickly to Saifeng. Yuan Yi and Bachinliu were protected, otherwise it would be bad if they were affected. For a while, the endless thunder and lightning seemed to contain the wrath of God, falling continuously. The nearby space was destroyed in a mess, and Datu was even shattered. I saw Spirit King's whole body turned into a thick terrifying lightning that could destroy the world and collided directly with Lu Chengkong. Click. A crisp shattering sound was clearly heard in the ears of Sophie and the other women in such a noisy environment. When they looked around, they saw that multiple overlapping spaces within 100 miles of the boundary shattered, leaving a dark void in the universe. Even the space was shattered, not to mention the earth and sky, all of which were smashed into powder by the violent spiritual pressure. Ha, you can't kill me, even if you are a genius. You have advanced to Wangshu, and the time for the Spirit King level is still short, although I don't know what method I used to increase my strength to such a level that it has no less than my strength, but your background is not comparable to mine after all. The Kingling laughed like a madman, and his voice was full of pride and arrogance, but no one noticed that there was a gleam in the depths of his eyes. Obviously, his wild laughter was his disguise, and he was definitely playing something. It's a pity that the scene is so chaotic now, and he deliberately pretends to be like this. He is good at forbearance and disguise, and he is even more hidden from everyone. 709-710 roundabout. Really, don't get too complacent. 3 points return to your vitality. Lu Chengkong sneered. His hands were rotated and pressed together and then folded in front of his chest. His left hand was slightly bent with 5 fingers down on the center of the upper palm, and again with 5 fingers up on the center of the lower palm, separated by about 20 centimeters of space. I saw a crackling electric light flashing out between the two hands. The chaotic sound of the water waves sounded, and a small water ball rotating at a high speed was formed in an instant, and then pushed towards the Spirit King. Even if the Spirit King had some idea in his heart, he was still stunned by the sudden 3-point return. The Spirit King only felt that at this moment there was only one in his eyes who wanted to push forward with boundless pressure and terror. A water polo called Sanfin Guiyuanqi. It was too late and the king didn't expect it. He thought that the move just now was not Lu Chengkong's strongest trick, but in that situation just now, Lu Chengkong should have mustered all his strength, and after a momentary confrontation more or less, they lacked stamina, and they couldn't attack in an instant, or they didn't feel relieved. It's a pity that he didn't expect Lu Chengkong to hide his hand. After releasing such a powerful attack, he could use both hands to release this terrifying stunt at the same time. With his 3-point return to life energy in the state of disintegrating and returning to the edge, it is not just Benkai when he fought with Zhao Zhoutong to death, but he can still be compared with the high-level strength of Skrito, but now he is Wangshu's. The strength is fully released. A 3-point return like a water polo slammed into the Spirit King's chest. It wasn't that he didn't want to hide, but he couldn't. It wasn't that he didn't want to resist, but that his old power had just gone and his new power had not yet been born. Sanfin Guiyuanqi's unique ability to freeze the space seems to contain infinite suction to suck his body, and the distance is so fast. In such an embarrassing state between the lightning and flint, the Spirit King can only be hit by 3 points of Guiyuanqi and fly up like a hit toy. The place where the chest was hit was directly crushed into powder, and blood splashed shooting out. The situation of the Spirit King looks extremely dangerous and miserable. Ah! A trace of remorse flashed in the King Spirit's eyes, but it turned into firmness. The change in this moment was noticed by Usually. It might have been confusing before and she couldn't see it, but this time how could she not see it, and she could see it clearly. With her understanding of the Spirit King, she could describe it like this: sinister and despicable, and she could do anything to the extreme. Especially when King Ling chose to confront Lu Chengkong so decisively just now. This is not like King Ling's usual style, but Maoji Huli is not a saint after all. How can he just count on his fingers, and he will know the world with a single thought? She has the ability to do things, so now even if she knows what the Spirit King must be paying attention to, she can't guess, she can only strengthen her vigilance. But no matter what, the Spirit King ate a 3-point return and his chest was blown into powder. He felt the pain in his body, and he couldn't help screaming. His face looked extremely sinister and resentful. I shudder to see it. For many years, he has never been hurt to this extent or faced such a situation, and all this was caused by this little devil in front of him. Revealing the color of hatred and hatred. Although he had a certain idea in his heart to make him suddenly fight with Lu Chengkong abnormally, but now he was seriously injured by Lu Chengkong, and it was still more serious than he thought. Let her know that this time he was really serious danger. However, he doesn't try not to fight. He knows that he will win if he dares to fight, and Lu Chengkong is not the only one who has gained. On the contrary, any being who cultivates and becomes stronger understands this principle, but knowing it does not mean that he can do it, and he still does it. Arrived, hard work succeeded. Just like the old and modern famous sayings about information inflation in the 21st century, as long as you can access the internet, even if you don't go out, the otaku who has to go out knows a lot, but what if he knows? How many of these principles can be used well? There is no way. At this time I can only fight. Keep moving forward. As long as I succeed, I will definitely blow you guys to ashes. Life is better than death. Spirit King roared frantically in his heart, his eyes resentful and resentful. Glancing at Lu Chengkong, Mao Zhawali, Sophie and others. I hope I guessed right. Wang Shu, don't let me down. King Ling was very anxious when he saw Lu Chengkong's 3-point return to his vitality again. From this, it could be seen that the purpose of his fight was obviously related to Wang Shu. Not that he wanted to gamble with his own life. He does not have the kind of struggle Lu Chengkong that he never gave up at the moment he was forced to by external pressure when he was in the world of One Piece, King of Pirates. Heart. Of course, he wouldn't be so crazy about finding trouble. The reason why he was so forced was that one Lu Chengkong would be enough to hurt him. With Mao Zhawali and Sophie, if the three of them played together, he might be in for 10 rounds. Was killed. Although he was very surprised why Lu Chengkong didn't go up with the three of them to destroy him first and then destroy Shu, it's just that he can figure out a way back for himself between life and death. Where there is still time to think about these things, it can only be summed up in Lu Chengkong had just broken through to the level of Wang Shu, and he was arrogant, and he had sneaked up on him before, wanting to take revenge or heroism with his own hands. It's a pity that he knew that Lu Chengkong never liked being a hero, because he knew that even a hero with great strength would basically end up dying early or not dying. Although he thinks that his strength is very strong, even in the world of death, he has climbed from weak to almost the strongest level of existence, but he knows how many void planes in the infinite universe, and there are countless strong people in the world of One Piece, King of Pirates, and in the world of death. He may be able to reign supreme, but what about the outside? He is still very self-aware and doesn't think highly of himself as a hero. Disintegrate, return to the blade. Just when Siphon Yuan Yi thought that the Spirit King was sure to die, and showed a happy smile, a mutation protruded, the space near the Spirit King suddenly cracked, and a figure rushed out at an astonishing speed. After completing the disintegration and returning to the blade, who else could this person be if not Wang Shu? Thousands of slaughtering blades formed a sword net that blocked the world and shot at Lu Chengkong, forcing Lu Chengkong to turn the 3-point return of vitality into a defensive form. Only the 3-point return of vitality the size of a strong man's fist suddenly changed. The existence of a colorless and transparent square circle similar to the body protection chi surrounded Lu Chengkong's entire province from top to bottom. He knew very well how terrifying the mental attack of Wang Shu's Zanpakudo was. At the beginning, he shared with Sophie that it was simply suffering from being injured. Although the reason for this was entirely because Wang Shu and the Spirit King had already reached the level of Spirit Void when they merged, they were not genuine existences, but their strength was definitely far better than that of Mao Zhawali. Although it would not be so troublesome if you were hit with equal strength, if the strength is at the same level, Azuki can definitely fight or even eliminate it. Where will he be suppressed by Uzuru for so many years? But even so, only the terrifying power of being hit by a knife is still fresh in Lu Chengkong's memory. 710-711 Has the Spirit King's calculation succeeded? Haha, come, although I don't know what Lu Chengkong and Mao Zhawali are thinking about, but you have given me such a good opportunity. If you don't make good use of it, it won't be a waste of your kindness. King Ling saw Wang Shu's appearance and let Lu Chengkong take the lead, and then rushed to himself. His eyes were full of greed and excitement, but he did not know that the same was true in King Ling's heart. But now he was indeed seriously injured, and he pretended to have no resistance for it, with a look of grief and anger, watching Wang Shu rush towards him in fear. Ling Wang, you can go in peace. The final winner is still me. When I devour you and become a real beyond Wang Shu, after the existence of the Spirit King level, I will avenge you and give you a glorious funeral. It's not that Wang Shu is stupid, nor is Wang Shu an idiot, but Wang Shu devours the Spirit King, and the Spirit King devours Wang Shu. This is the natural instinct of both parties. They all know that as long as they devour each other, the benefits they get are definitely not comparable to other phantoms devouring the god of death or devouring the same kind. Think of the first phantom devouring the first god of death in the world of the god of death. If there is no great benefit, will the two sides try to calculate each other so desperately? In addition to being temporarily blinded by the greed in his heart, Wang Shu also judged that the Spirit King was indeed severely injured, and it was a very serious one. As long as you grab the Spirit King by yourself, even if you are besieged by Mao Zhawali, Lu Chengkong, and Sophie at most, you will be seriously injured. They can't kill themselves in an instant. Just a little time is enough to swallow Wang Shu. At that time, none of the 10 Lu Chengkong would be his opponents. It is precisely because of this that even if Wang Shu knew that there was a great danger, she would have to fight. Otherwise, when the King of Spirit died, he would definitely be the next one. Even if Shu knew that there was likely to be a trap in front of him, he had to jump into it. Shoot! Mao Zhawali had already raised his vigilance after seeing the abnormality of King Ling. Seeing Wang Shu rushing over, thinking about the abnormality before King Ling and the arrangement that Lu Chengkong had discussed with them before, the intelligent Mao Zhawali immediately figured it out, but she didn't stop her. Whether it was Wang Shu devouring the Spirit King or the Spirit King devouring Wang Shu, there was no conflict with Lu Chengkong's plan. Since Wang Shu rushed over, then only can blame Wang Shu for being unlucky. Wheel of Fortune. Sophie now has a formidable strength but can't fully exert it. Facing opponents below Wang Shu, of course, she was instantly killed, but facing opponents of the same level, she had only become a god of death for 3 days, and she did not have any powerful stunts. Fortunately, both she and Lu Chengkong came from the One Piece King of Pirates world, and all the strengths that belonged to the One Piece King of Pirates world were taken away, but now that she has the power of Wang Shu, she can fight against the laws of the world, and she is also with Lu Chengkong. It also took back some of his abilities in the world of One Piece King of Pirates. What she got back was not the Emperor's color, nor any subtle physical skills, but the fruit ability, the fruit of fate. She used her powerful spiritual pressure to use the ability to use the fruit of fate to attack. It is obviously the strongest of Sophie at present. From now on, it is much more powerful to use the Death God skills that I am not familiar with and not very powerful at present. Is this the devil fruit ability of the One Piece King of Pirates world that Lu Chengkong said? Very outstanding ability. Is it fate? Maybe it's bound by the world laws of the One Piece King of Pirates plane, or it may be in that world. At that time, Sophie was not strong enough. But now she has the power of Wang Shu to drive this devil fruit in the world of death. The power is of course powerful. It seems that she will not be able to live in the plane of One Piece King of Pirates in the future. Too boring. At least there are a lot of devil fruits for me to study. Quote. Ujawali glanced at Sophie with interest, as if the ability to judge the fate of all beings was released, and she wanted to travel more and more quickly. However, she also knew that in order to travel quickly on the plane, she had to kill Wang Shu and King Ling in front of her. Thinking of this, Mao Zhawali's attack was even more ruthless. Haiyuan Ice Dragon King, the world is frozen, absolutely 0. 3 points return to vitality. When Wang Shu appeared, in order to snatch the Spirit King, he had already released his own trick to force Lu Chengkong to switch from attacking to defending, but at this time he had to go all out to deal with a Lu Chengkong, and now he is facing a stronger than himself. Lai, who was 1 or 2 steps weaker than himself, but with absolute strength of the same level. Sophie Marceau's attack immediately made Wang Shu passive, and at the same time, he was immediately blown up and wounded. It's just that the matter is obviously not over yet. When Wang Shu thought he could breathe a sigh of relief and devour the Spirit King immediately, Lu Chengkong turned his three-point return from defense to attack, and a spinning water ball slammed into him. On the body, you must know that the Spirit King was also directly hit by 3 points of Gui Yuan Qi to have such an injury. Now when Wang Shu is attacking himself, he has no way to defend himself. He had already vomited blood and was seriously injured by the attacks of Mao Zhawali and Sophie, and Lu Chengkong also sees this opportunity to protect his body like a protective shield. The three-point return of vitality turned into an attack, which made Wang Shu's injury even more serious. Want to devour me, idiot, I was the one who won in the end. Wang Shu, who had eaten another 3-point Gui Yuan Qi, already knew that it was not good. Although the 3-point Gui Yuan Qi was powerful, even if he was hit in the front, it was only a serious injury. Will never look like the King of Spirit is about to die. It's a pity that it was too late for Wang Shu to wake up and want to kill or throw the King of Spirits out. He and the King of Spirits were only half a pound in strength. Now he has been injured more than the King of Spirits, and the King of Spirits was caught by him. At such a close distance, there is no intention to calculate, and the King of the Spirits suddenly burst into a thunder dragon and opened its largest mouth to swallow Wang Shu. Damn, you sinister guy, are you trying to kill me and devour me? Don't even think about it, even if I blow myself up, I won't make you a bastard. To show weakness to the enemy, it is a calculation to dig a hole and wait for yourself to step on it. It's just that this calculation is obviously crazy. If he doesn't come out, the Spirit King will definitely die, but can Wang Shu stand the temptation? Even if he knows the danger, he will go, because the temptation is too great, plus Wang Shu knows that he will not go. The King of Spirit hangs up, and the next one will come to him, so he has to go. Middle count. HMPH, I paid so much to wait for you to come, do you think I'll give you this chance? After being attacked by Ujawali, Lu Chengkong, and that woman, how much resistance do you have? Die, Wang Shu, be a stepping stone for me to embark on the road to the spiritual world. Since you just said to give me a grand burial, you can rest assured, I will avenge you and give you a grand burial. 711-712 Who counts whom? Wang Shu heard that no matter how angry and resentful his heart was, he couldn't help choking, his face was suffocated and he almost fainted. After a while, he became the Spirit King and said such words to himself. It's a pity that this is Wang Shu's last sentence and last thought. He just wanted to blow himself up, but tragically found himself numb, not only his body but even his soul was paralyzed. He was lost for a moment. When he came back to his senses, he only felt that the severe pain came from all over the body, so he could only let out a scream, and his consciousness had become more and more blurred. He lost consciousness. It should be said that he was already dead, and the generation of Wang Shu actually died like this. Haha, Lu Chengkong, Mao Zhawali, and that woman, it will be with you soon. After killing Wang Shu, the Spirit King who transformed into a giant thunder dragon was like a villain, and immediately Thunder Dragon a death gray light burst out from all over his body and surrounded his entire huge body. It didn't take long for the surface of the Thunder Dragon to form an oval-shaped death gray egg-shaped sphere that occasionally flashed with thunder, surrounding him. Satisfied. Now everything is going according to your plan. Oops, my life is really hard. After a few days of freedom, you are a lunatic who will come here and work hard. If you win, I will not benefit. If you lose, I'll be buried with you. Sophie Marceau shook her head and kept sighing. Siphon Yuanyei and Bachinliu both laughed as they watched. I believe that Chengkong can win. Suddenly a very familiar voice sounded. Siphon Yuanyei and Bachinliu suddenly looked at the owner of this voice with shock, surprise, disbelief and joy. Nellie L. who disappeared. Just seeing that she was in good spirits and exuding a confident and capable air, she knew that she should have succeeded. Only Sophie, who saw the real situation early in the morning and knew a little bit about her bickering with Ujawali, was calm and did not change in the slightest. They knew it early on, so is there any need to be surprised? It's still my little baby who treats me the best. Lu Chengkong smiled and pulled Nellie L over and hugged her in his arms. It was a burst of kisses against her small mouth. His own sister, but still made Nellie Lu's eyes flash a hint of shyness. Her trust in you is already blind. Sophie curled her lips and said in a sour tone, as if seeing Lu Chengkong with such a blind Nellie Lu who trusts her is very uncomfortable. Yes, but looking at its smart and cunning eyes, she knew that she was just pretending. Then you can also trust me blindly, so you don't have to worry so much. Lu Chengkong immediately retorted, not knowing that Sophie Marceau did not pretend to be on purpose. Sophie Marceau was speechless for a moment, so she made herself blindly believe in him. Do you want to pretend it yourself? I really admire you. You can still talk and laugh so calmly when you are about to die. Should I say you are stupid or do you have other sources of support? King Ling didn't know when he had broken out of the egg, like a new life. Such a powerful pressure makes it difficult to breathe. It seems that you are not stupid enough. Don't you think things are going too smoothly in your head, as if there is an invisible big hand promoting the devouring battle between you and Wang Shu? Lu Chengkong sneered, his eyes closed. A sneer flashed in the middle, and this sneer was caught by the Spirit King, and he would remember all the previous things. He felt a strange feeling early in the morning. Lu Chengkong didn't understand him, but with his understanding, Mao Zhawali's shrewdness would never give him this opportunity, and seeing that the three of them were all confident from beginning to end smile, as if they devoured Wang Shu or Wang Shu devoured themselves as if they had expected it early in the morning. You deliberately let me devour Wang Shu. You are really stupid, no matter what plans or arrangements you have, but letting me devour Wang Shu is the stupidest thing you have done in your life. Mao Zhawali, aren't you very shrewd? Why did you make such a stupid decision after following this brat? Is this the so-called magic of love? Although I don't know how to feel a little uncomfortable in my heart, as if I have a feeling of being calculated, the king's spirit doesn't care at all. After all, his current strength is far superior to the three Lu Chengkong in front of him, and he has reached the spiritual level. The level of emptiness, and it is a genuine spiritual emptiness. It is not comparable to the spiritual emptiness that was briefly improved after the fusion with Wang Shu. The gap between the two is too great. Say a few more words before you die, or you won't have a chance. Mao Zhawali gently stroked the braid on her chest, without even looking at the King of Spirit, as if King of the Spirit was now in her eyes as a dead-like. Okay, I'll see how you kill me. Although I'm already in the void now, devouring the three of you should make my strength stronger and my realm completely stabilized. There was a flash of desire in the eyes of the King of Spirit, and he immediately turned into a thunderbolt and slammed into Lu Chengkong's chest like a poisonous dragon, as if he wanted to penetrate Lu Chengkong's body directly. The speed was like a teleportation. Generally too fast. 3-point return to vitality. Lu Chengkong folded his hands together and immediately shot a 3-point return to vitality, but the 3-point return to vitality that was enough to severely wound both the Spirit King and Wang Shu was easily given to the Spirit King's thunder and lightning. Broken down. This trick is very powerful. It is actually the fusion of 3 different source powers. It's just that the gap between us is too big. Die. The Spirit King roared loudly, and his right hand wrapped in thunder and lightning shot towards Lu Chengkong's heart, and as soon as he shot it, the thunder struck Lu Chengkong's heart without giving Lu Chengkong any chance to turn over. Boom. When King Ling's right hand was about to run through Lu Chengkong's heart, King Ling couldn't help showing a smug smile. A strong and powerful hand suddenly squeezed King Ling's palm and let his hand never stop. Unable to advance half an inch, at the same time, the collision of the two forces caused layers of cracks to appear directly in the space near the two, and the dazzling lightning cracks were released, and they continued to wreak havoc in the sky. How could this happen? Actually, King Ling's smile had frozen, his eyes widened, and he stared at Lu Chengkong's face with a trembling voice. Even Mao Zhawali's current quasi-linguistic strength is not enough, but Lu Chengkong, who was only an advanced Wang Shu not long ago, actually blocked his attack lightly. How could he not be surprised? I've been plotting against you from the beginning to the end. Do you really think I'm so idiot and don't have enough strength? Do you think I'll swallow Wang Shu for you? You don't understand such a simple truth. The power is very confident. Quote. 712-713 Reappearance of the Devil's Change. Ling Shu abruptly opened Lu Chengkong's big hand that was bound to his right hand like a curse, and with a flash of lightning, he pulled the distance between the two with a squeak, pointing at Lu Chengkong, who looked like a human-shaped unicorn, and said no for a long time. Say a word. Are you surprised? Then I'm doing it once. This time you can see it clearly. Lu Chengkong tickled the corner of his mouth hidden under the mask, and Ujawali and Sophie looked at each other isho. Obviously they had long been knowing that Lu Chengkong would attack the Spirit King like this. I saw Lu Chengkong slowly raised his right hand and pressed it on his face. Suddenly a burst of light flashed, and the unicorn mask covering his face disappeared in a flash, revealing Lu Chengkong's face. Demon changes. That's right, Lu Chengkong's return against the laws of the world is part of the power of the One Piece King of Pirates world as the demon bloodline. This powerful bloodline that has changed his very ordinary aptitude makes him in the One Piece King of Pirates world across the world. Even in the face of the Void Demon, it can be defeated. It is precisely because of the return of this bloodline that Lu Chengkong has the capital to take such an adventure. Let the Spirit King swallow Wang Shu, become the strongest, kill him at that time, swallow him again, and reach the Spirit King's present in one fell swoop. This level. At that time, with the strength of your own spirit and the power of your own demon blood, the demon transformation and the demon emperor transformation are too far away, or the planes whose level is too much higher than your own level may not be able to travel temporarily, but you can get from the plane of One Piece King of Pirates came to the plane of death, and the two planes should be not far apart in time and space. With their own strength and the improvement of the demon transformation and the demon emperor transformation, it is absolutely impossible to go back to the One Piece King of Pirates plane. Problem, and very easy. What's more important is that after reaching the phantom level, I have been freed from the shackles of the world law of the plane of death. All the abilities of my One Piece King of Pirates world include Rokushiki, life return, and all devil fruits will come back. One Piece King of the Enel and the new pleasure on the plane of pirates have their own spatial coordinates. With this spatial coordinate as the leader, it is very easy to go back, but Lu Chengkong has prepared so much, and he has the ability to transform into a demon emperor, and a mirror fruit. When traveling, I encountered an accidental space storm when I was traveling to the plane of One Piece King of Pirates with the Void Great Demon and fell into the sea, losing shelter from water droplets. Although such an accident is minimal, it is better to be careful. If the strength is strong enough, it can also withstand the space storms that appear on these weak planes, instead of being passive and running away. Puff! The sound of shredding rags suddenly sounded, and Lu Chengkong's black and white pupils suddenly turned black as ink, without a trace of luster, like two small black holes inlaid in his eyes. The souls of people were sucked in, and at the same time, a pair of demon wings appeared on Lu Chengkong's back, which had not appeared in a long time. A negative energy that ravages, destroys everything spreads out from his body in all directions. The potential of the devil's bloodline becomes stronger with Lu Chengkong's strength, and the deeper the excavation, the stronger the power. Now Lu Chengkong's strength is more than 100 times stronger than when he was on the plane of One Piece King of Pirates, so the failure brought by the demon bloodline is stronger. The stronger the same strength, the increase in using the demon becomes. Also bigger. It's such a strong negative energy. What is Chengkong like? It can't be affected by this negative energy. Lu Chengkong didn't tell anyone about the devil's blood, so even if he is from the One Piece King of Pirates, Sophie Marceau, who is in front of her, could only be confused and said that she didn't know. When I saw him for the first time, I found that there seemed to be an unusual energy that was constantly changing his body and improving his aptitude. It was unbelievable. The surprise is bigger and bigger every time we meet, and his life experience is more complicated. Quote. Sophie Marceau said that Lu Chengkong was not an aboriginal resident of the One Piece King of Pirates plane and told Maojawali, which made Maojawali very interesting, and stared at Lu Chengkong with a twinkle in her eyes. It looks like a scientist sees something that can make him sleepless to study. Don't forget that Uno Hanali's favorite is to study various abilities, or blood and the like. It's heavier than that guy's negative energy. What is this? King Ling was extremely shocked. In this respect, he obviously found that Lu Chengkong gave him a sense of threat when he squeezed his hand just now. Obviously only the same level can bring it to yourself. But the moment Lu Chengkong took off his mask, that feeling disappeared again, but when Lu Chengkong threw out the word, devil, he began to faintly feel an uncontrollable but very light threat, but still can't compare to the beginning. Also, the second stage of demon transformation. Lu Chengkong said in a deep voice. His whole body was covered with black energy as if he was on duty, and these energies kept pouring towards the pair of demon wings on Lu Chengkong's back. Not long after, there was only one pair of demon wings suddenly flickered. Like a phantom clone, it was divided into 4, from a pair of demon wings to 2 pairs of 4. I thought that he was the last beneficiary, but now it seems that Lu Chengkong has been calculating himself from the beginning, and he is completely at the mercy of him like a headless fly, so that he has always been aloof, and no one has ever rebelled against him. Ling Wang felt very uncomfortable. Don't be complacent, at best you can only compete with me when I entered the Benkai state. Don't forget that I am now a ghost at the level of death. I can still disintegrate and return to the blade. The final winner is still me. The King of Spirit took a deep breath. He would not lose. He did not believe he would lose. He was the strongest god of death, always been, and of course he thought so. Then go back to the blade and disintegrate. Lu Chengkong waved his hand indifferently, and shrugged his shoulders, indicating that the Spirit King doesn't need to take care of himself at all, and he can take action with all his strength. Return to the blade. I don't believe that you can become stronger. I will not give you any chance to fight back this time, leaving you dead without a corpse. I see what cards you have. The blue veins on the king's forehead were exposed, and he roared loudly. The loud sound made the air rippling. Immediately, a surge of spiritual pressure burst out from the king's body. It was stronger. Obviously, the Spirit King did not want to be stimulated anymore to kill Lu Chengkong with absolute power, and he actually used the disintegration and return blade in one go. 713-714 Virtual Ability. Let's die, Rebel Thunder. The Spirit King, who seemed to have turned into a lion-faced man, exuded a strong kingly air, as if he was really the king of beasts, and the thick thunder and lightning seemed to shuttle between the past and the future. Usually, it directly penetrated the void and slammed into Lu Chengkong's body, which was already beyond the limit that words could describe. After Lu Chengkong exploded, a large space where Lu Chengkong was located has been fragmented. Obviously, after reaching the spirit void level, it has exceeded the limit that the Death God plane can bear. If you continue to fight the entire plane, it will not take long. It will be destroyed, and even the powerhouses who cannot be bound by the laws of the world can't bear their battles on the plane of death. Don't be too happy for too long. An enlarged version of the 3-point Guiyuan Qi wrapped Lu Chengkong's whole body like a protective cover and was airtight. Even if the space of this world was blown up, the gas cover on Lu Chengkong's body was not destroyed. Breaking, it really is a trick of both offense and defense. However, if you take a serious look, you will find that this air hood is already on the verge of its limit, and it can only withstand one blow. After all, the current gap is still too large, and the second stage of demon transformation can only make Lu Chengkong's strength comparable to the spiritual level. The Spirit King fought in Benkai state, but the Spirit King is now disintegrating, and the increase in an instant is too great, and it is great to be able to defend against an attack. Hey, the mayfly shakes the tree, you can only resist it for a while at most. I will use a more powerful attack next time. You still can't change the fate of your death. Death explodes. The Spirit King said disdainfully. The movement on his hand did not fall at all. Compared with the previous thunder and lightning, this thunder and lightning was full of tyranny. It seemed that a very unstable atomic bomb would explode at any time, but the only thing that was certain was the power of this thunder and lightning. It is definitely stronger than the previous betrayal thunder. Idiot, I've been plotting against you all the time. How can I give you a chance to turn over? And I won't put myself in danger and have no resistance. the light of the devil, the transformation of the devil. The corners of Lu Chengkong's mouth twitched, his hands clenched into fists, and he roared. The blue veins on his forehead burst, and the muscles in his body swelled, and then instantly contracted back to their original shape. Roar! A sound resembling a tiger and an elephant, with an infinite anger resounding in a radius of tens of miles, hundreds of miles, thousands of miles, or even the entire boundary can be clearly heard, like a monstrous devil who has just been born. The world unleashes the roar of its arrival. In an instant, Lu Chengkong's appearance has undergone earth-shaking changes. The demon scale armor, demon wings, and the human-shaped unicorn-like changes brought by the second stage of the demon transformation have all disappeared and returned to the original one. Common man state. It's just that the black hair turned into long silver black hair. The hair growth stopped when it reached the waist. At the same time, a symbol appeared on Lu Chengkong's forehead. It should be a spell. The imprint is more suitable. The ancient, violent and destructive aura is obviously the mark of the devil, and of course the pair of slender but beautiful devil fangs in the mouth that look like hockey's incomparable. No, I don't believe it. You are just a god of death at the level of Wang Shu. How can you possibly be comparable to me? King Ling only felt that his head was about to explode. He couldn't believe it, and he couldn't believe it. The only thought now is to destroy this Lu Chengkong that he cannot accept. HMPH, the 3-point return to vitality. Lu Chengkong poured the demon power brought by the Demon Emperor transformation into it, making the 3-point return to vitality even more powerful, and the originally transparent water polo had turned into a high-speed rotation like a black hole. Black energy ball. Electrical light and thunder is urgent. Feeling the horror of the 3-point return to the original demonic energy, even the Spirit King who had only one thought left his head immediately awake. The sky suddenly flickered with thunder and lightning, and the thunder and lightning flashed. Like a god, all the thunder and lightning between the heavens and the earth are under his control, and waves of electric light continue to slash on the 3-point return to the original demonic energy that is advancing towards him, and a series of explosions continue to sound. Sophie, Maujawali and other women pushed them far, far away, and even pushed them to the edge of the broken world. The destructive power of a powerhouse who has reached the level of Lingwu is too great, and it is a real destruction. The existence of the world, the entire death god plane will completely return to the universe if it continues to fight like this. It's useless. I haven't shown my special ability as a virtual all the time. I'll let you see it today. Overlap. Lu Chengkong's body was suddenly in a trance. When Lu Chengkong's body moved, he was surprised to find that there were several phantom-like beings on Lu Chengkong's body, but when Lu Chengkong stood still, these phantoms seemed to merge into one another. It seemed that Lu Chengkong no longer came out of his body. HMPH. Nothing special, it's not a powerful attacking ability, and whether you have increased strength, it seems that you are not as good as I imagined. Although King Ling said that he was very disdainful, he was relieved in his heart. He was really a little afraid that this guy with endless trump cards would have another surge in strength. At that time, he would not have to fight, and he would blow himself up. He devoured and made him complete. It's just that the Spirit King soon became tragic, and he didn't even have the time or opportunity to speak, because Lu Chengkong moved, and instead of bringing his hands together, a 3-point return to the original devil energy appeared in each of his left and right hands. After the lacing, the space where he passed was frozen without exception, and there was no escape at all, but the Spirit King never thought of escaping. It's useless, I've already figured out this kind of attack. Crazy thunder is falling from the sky. The 10 fingers of the Spirit King shot out countless thunderbolts at the 3-point return magic energy that was advancing towards him at the same time. It's nothing at all in terms of returning to the original demonic energy, but the 10 fingers of the Spirit King are like an AK with endless bullets. Disperse. Lu Chengkong's cold voice seemed to be blown by the cold wind over a person's body, and he couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart, and 2 3-points returning to the original demonic energy appeared behind him just like when Lu Chengkong moved just now. A phantom that was so tightly adhered that it was almost inseparable. Originally, The Spirit King thought that the 2 3-point Guiyuan demonic chi would definitely be wiped out under his repeated bombardment, but soon he was stunned, because the 2 3-point Guiyuan demonic chi revealed their own after the smoke had dissipated. The figure, without incident, slammed directly on him. 715 shatter the boundary. PFF'd. The Spirit King only felt that his chest was constantly being eroded by a series of violent spinning forces, causing him to spew several liters of blood up to the sky. Let Lu Chengkong shout waste in his heart. He wants to spray blood at the time of the Red Cross Society in this world. This place can buy a lot of money. If the Spirit King in the blood spray knows Lu Chengkong's thoughts at this time, it may be possible it is not as little as vomiting a few liters of blood. What is this? Although King Ling was not surprised, after suffering a big loss, he went to his chest and was blasted with 2 big holes, but King Ling was not worried because the 2 holes in his chest were unexpectedly large. Lightning flashed, and after the electric light disappeared, the wound disappeared, and the violent energy in the body was also cleared by him. It's the same as what you released just now. You should be able to recover from your injuries so quickly, right? That's not the level that super speed regeneration can achieve. Lu Chengkong is also a little curious. He knows that not all the abilities of the virtual are that Yachukas comprehends 1 skill, and Vastad comprehends 2. Looking at the 5 forms like Ju Nanbai, he knows that some virtual abilities have only 1 kind. Ability, and the Spirit King is this. After I acquired the virtual ability, there is only 1 special skill so far, which is the limit regeneration just now. King Ling didn't hide it. After all, it was just a name. This ability he didn't use before facing Lu Chengkong was just to pit Wang Shu. Now that he has swallowed Wang Shu, there is no need to conceal it, and concealment is superfluous. Chengkong's eyes can see what it is. Very powerful regeneration ability. As long as your soul body does not collapse once and cannot be regenerated, it will not kill you. That is to say, you need to reach a destructive power beyond your limit regeneration to be able to regenerate to kill you. Sure enough, Lu Chengkong did not disappoint the Spirit King, and immediately saw the mystery of his limit regeneration, but seeing that does not mean that it can be cracked, because sometimes the more complex the ability, the easier it is to crack, and the more difficult it is after cracking. On the contrary, the simpler and easier to understand and simple ability, the more difficult to crack, because everyone knows the method, but it depends on whether you can do it. What about yours? Just now there were only 2 3-point return magic energy, but when it attacked me, I clearly felt that it turned into 4 and continuously destroyed me. Is this your ability? It doesn't seem to be anything special, a little let down. I am disappointed. King Ling nodded indifferently. It was completely within his expectation that Lu Chengkong could say it. If he couldn't say it, he would really doubt whether Lu Chengkong in front of him was mentally retarded. I hope you will be able to say something like this later. Lu Chengkong's abilities are similar to those of the Spirit King. They are both very simple and easy to understand, but this is not the only way to use them. Lu Chengkong's figure flashed, and he directly crossed the obstacles of space and came to the Spirit King's body. His speed had already surpassed the Spirit King's. However, although the Spirit King's speed was not as fast as Lu Chengkong's, his response was not slow. When Lu Chengkong moved, he already knew that it was not good, and suddenly the thunder light all over his body was generous, as if electric discharges erupted into any space around him. Up and down his body, such a dense thunder and lightning bombard Lu Chengkong absolutely can't get close to him. Even if he gets close to him, he will immediately was shown. Sure enough, Lu Chengkong, who was wearing the protective cover that he hated the most, appeared in the upper left corner of himself. After the formation of the 3-point Guiyuan Qi, there are 2 forms, one is the same protection as now. The other form, of course, is to attack. I saw that the pitch-black sphere that wrapped Lu Chengkong suddenly shot out a 3-point return to vitality, and at the same time carried a phantom. How could the Spirit King who suffered a loss will suffer again, and immediately raised his hands high, forming a huge radius of 500 meters. The electric ball threw it towards the fist-sized 3-point return to the original demonic energy in front of him. The boundary is going to be destroyed, Go away. Maujawali understands that the power that bursts out at the moment when the electric ball and the three-point return magic energy collide can definitely radiate the entire boundary, and then the boundary will definitely be destroyed. If you destroy it, will you fall into the void of the universe if you don't leave? Where there are space storms everywhere, courting death is not like this. When Sophie heard the words, she opened the black cavity without saying a word, and jumped in immediately, but what surprised and speechless was that she was the fastest to open the black cavity, but the speed of entering was slower than that of others. This little guy jumped in as if he had opened the transmission. It's not that they ran away, but that fighting at this level would only be a burden to stay, and instead distracted Lu Chengkong to protect them. That's why they walked so fast. Reason stays here like a fool or rushes over to help. Their reason is analyzed and they leave here. It is the best help to let Lu Chengkong feel at ease and fight without any scruples. Boom. Sure enough, as soon as they walked on their front feet, the energy fluctuations from the collision of the two energy balls, one large and one small, immediately radiated the entire boundary, and the whole boundary began to shake and vibrate, and a click sounded not long afterward. Immediately, with a loud bang, the entire space of the broken boundary shattered and exploded at a speed visible to the inner eye. It's just that Lu Chengkong and King Ling didn't care at all, because they knew that either you died or I died today, and any retreat in their hearts before they moved forward would kill them. Otherwise, with the character of King Ling, how could he be so desperate, and the king still has his own ideas. He doesn't believe that Lu Chengkong's demon transformation into a demon emperor has no time limit. Idea Spirit King is desperate to attack and fight. Ha ha, Lu Chengkong twitched the corner of his mouth, revealing a free and easy smile. It's useless, my destruction thunderball is compressed, even if you can overlap 3 or even 4 of the three-point return magic energy into one, I will be divided into 4 and attack me at a critical moment. It's useless, my weight lies in quality, your weight lies in quantity, how could it be mine? The sarcastic voice of the Spirit King stopped before he could speak, because his huge shattering lightning ball had been dispelled by Lu Chengkong's fist-sized 3-point Guiyuan demonic chi. In this way, Lu Chengkong's 3-point return to the primordial demonic energy after dispelling the shattering thunderball slammed into the Spirit King's body, suddenly turning into a huge black energy storm. No matter the strength or the way of attacking, there is a big gap between his own 3-point Guiyuan chi, and the Spirit King can only be locked in the black energy storm of 3-point Guiyuan chi with hatred. The power of rotation, the power of the rotation will completely crush his body in a short time. 715, 716 You can die. Impossible, what you have is only the number. Even if there are 10 3-point return, it is impossible to shatter my thunderball. How did you do it? While releasing the spiritual pressure in his body, the Spirit King turned into lightning and wrapped himself around him to resist the erosion of the surrounding energy storm, roaring continuously while raging. Who told you that my ability to overlap can only overlap multiple 3-point return magic energy into one, and then turn into a few at a critical moment and then carry out a series of sudden and powerful attacks that are hard to resist? I told me that this ability is not simple as overlapping, and overlapping is only half of this ability. In addition to the number overlapping into one and then dispersing into several with my control when needed, there is another half. This is the half of what you are facing now, compression. All my abilities are the overlapping of quantity and the compression of quality. The continuous overlapping and compression of quality and quantity at the same time is the complete state of my ability. Do you really think I am an idiot? Quantitative change leads to qualitative change. Do you think I don't know the importance of quality? Faced with this 3-point return to vitality magic energy and the appearance just now, there is no change in the appearance, but the energy destructive power contained in a small 3-point return magic energy is 100 times 1000 times more than before, because there are 919 3-points of the energy of returning to the original chi were forcibly overlapped and formed through 99 compressions. I think you should know that the compression of energy is very dangerous. After the compression is successful, it is more dangerous to control it to attack without exploding and backlashing against yourself. The more the number of compressions, the greater the danger and backlash. But my ability to overlap and compress is able to overlap any kind of tricks, such as the 3-point return magic energy, and then compress the energy quality of each 3-point return magic energy that is reconnected. I'll be in no danger. Of course, if I exceed the number of overlaps and compressions I can, then I will be attacked, but as long as it doesn't exceed me, nothing will happen, and my current strength can only perform 99 times regardless of the number of overlaps and compressions. That is to say, the stunt of the 3-point return to the original magic energy has 999 overlaps in quantity, and the number of compressions is also 99 times. The overlap and compression performed within these 99 times there will be no danger. The combination of overlapping and compression is Lu Chengkong's ability to comprehend, and it is precisely because of this ability that Lu Chengkong is so energetic and motivated to study the ability of Shu. Although his only skill is this one, he doesn't have the 5 form changes of Ju Nanbai, nor does he have 3 skills like Grimjiao Ulquioricipher, but he is satisfied with this move alone. When he comprehended this move, he already knew how great the potential of this move was. He could overlap and compress so many times, and he was still safe without exceeding the limit. This kind of ability is simply leapfrog killing, a must-have super killer for home travel. The first move just now was just used a few times and the number of overlapping is just to confuse the Spirit King, so that the next time will be completed to the limit. The overlapping and compression of the two killed the Spirit King once and for all, without giving the Spirit King a chance to self-destruct or counterattack. Now it seems that he has succeeded. Haha, okay, I didn't expect that my Spirit King Yingming the First would be tricked by you. From beginning to end, Wang Shu and I were nothing but fools, 2 fools who made you stronger. The King Ling was desolate and bitter and laughed like a madman, but his eyes flashed with resentment and madness. Lu Chengkong knew that this guy was definitely not one to sit still, even Wang Shu would rather blow himself up than give it to the King of Souls. The opportunity to devour, let alone a Spirit King who is more harmful to others than Wang Shu. Give me, explode. The King of Spirit roared resentfully, his whole body swelled like a balloon, and he was about to explode himself. How powerful is the self-destruction of a Spirit Void level powerhouse, hee, all fools know it, the 2 of them can instantly destroy the range of their unique skills when they touch it. Not to mention that a powerhouse at the level of Spirit Void self-destructs, and a powerhouse at the level of Spirit Void self-destructs. If the opponent is unlucky and dodging in time, it can completely kill 3 powerhouses of the same level. If the King of Spirit is successful, don't say if the world is broken, even if it is the soul world, the virtual circle and the 3 broken worlds add up, and even 10 death planes can be completely destroyed. Therefore, Lu Chengkong had figured this out early in the morning, prepared secretly, and absolutely could not give him a successful self-destruction. Otherwise, even if he escaped into the void of the universe by relying on his speed, his wife and friends would surely die. Idiot, do you think I'll give you a chance to self-destruct and pull me into the water? You can die, Spirit King, take the trick. 3 points to return to the devil is my self-control ability, but my disintegration brings the most strong ability is this trick, Function Fury. Quote. Electric light flickered in Lu Chengkong's eyes, and behind him appeared a phantom composed entirely of mysterious winds. This phantom was like the wind god above the 9 heavens, but this wind god was angry under the leadership of Lu Chengkong. The anger of the gods, how much terrible, even if this is not a real god, it is just a phantom that destroys the world. I saw the phantom of the function behind Lu Chengkong merged into Lu Chengkong's body. Following Lu Chengkong's rise from the ground, his whole body revolved at an extremely high speed, forming a white tornado exuding the wrath of the gods, which swept over at once, and the black tornadoes on Ling Wang's body were intertwined with each other, and then the 2 tornadoes actually merged to form a black and white tornado that looked like a Tai Chi pattern. Godlike anger penetrated deep into the Spirit King's soul. This emotion of God's anger caused the Spirit King's original thought of self-destruction to suddenly sink, and a trace of fear appeared in his mind. It was the fear of facing the wrath of God, and it was precisely because of the influence of this anger that the Spirit King felt fear in his heart. VV's unshakable and self-destructed heart paused for a while, and at this moment Lu Chengkong's attack came at once. Ah! The severe pain from all over the body made the heart fall, and the lost mind was clear. Unfortunately, it was too late at this time and only had time to let out a scream, and was swayed by an energy that made the Spirit King irresistible. The only thing Su will have left after destroying his soul is a shattered body that has recovered at an astonishing speed. This black and white tornado obviously not only attacked the body, but also attacked the soul, and it hit the Spirit King's soul violently at once. His consciousness, sanity, and even soul were directly destroyed. Fortunately, Lu Chengkong did not destroy his body at the critical moment. Otherwise, he would destroy Lu Chengkong's body and soul at the same time and devour a fart. Isn't the reason he fought so hard just to devour the Spirit King or Wang Shu in his strongest state? Since the Spirit King devoured Wang Shu, Lu Chengkong would of course have to look at the Spirit King in the strongest state, otherwise he had so many plans and fought so hard. 716-717 Devouring the Spirit King, the strongest god of death. Hey! Lu Chengkong sighed lightly. The broken realm has been completely destroyed, and it may not be possible for a few decades or even 100 years to fully recover. After all, this is different from ordinary space cracks and the like. But one of the largest spaces in the plane of death, the entire space was destroyed, and the boundary was more complicated. Different from the soul realm, the void circle, and the present world, it is a pure space. The boundary realm is a space where several layers of cut-off spaces overlap. It is a space surrounded by the torrent of time, and it is very special. Now it is completely shattered. Returning to nothingness, the world's law to regrow a broken boundary is not done in the blink of an eye like mending space. Forget it, anyway. Apart from the fact that the time ratio is different from that of the outside world, there is nothing worth saving about the broken world. If it is destroyed, it will be destroyed. Lu Chengkong picked up the Spirit King's body and swiped his foot in a flash, and he disappeared in place, and swept toward the soul realm at an amazing speed beyond the limit. The entire space here was destroyed. Running. Fortunately, Lu Chengkong's speed was astonishing, and he soon arrived at the junction of Duanji and soul realm. After sensing the spiritual pressure of Maojawali and the others, he opened the black cavity at the edge of soul realm and came directly to him. Uno Hana is by their side. Solved. Maojawali looked at the cracked space around him, and Lu Chengkong walked out from it. Although he had already guessed it in his heart, he couldn't help but ask. Of course, how could the two of them escape from my palm? Lu Chengkong nodded, and he was relieved. After all, this is a huge risk. The strength of the complete spirit void, and then roughly deduce to what extent the real spirit void has reached. Then compare his demon transformation and the demon emperor transformation. With the comparison, in the end Lu Chengkong dared to take such a risk, otherwise he would really clean up one to the other as Ujawali said. Less stinky farts. Sophie Marceau said angrily, but the tight string in her heart slowly loosened, but of course she wouldn't show it. This time he is also worth a stinky fart, annihilating Wang Shu and Ling Wang in one fell swoop, and capturing them in one net. Such a slashing and stinking fart is not a problem. You are already the strongest death god, but you don't be proud. Maojawali is always so kind and considerate. As soon as her words came out, they were immediately recognized by Lu Chengkong. Seeing Lu Chengkong's smug look made Sophie Marceau not know why she wanted to punch him. I'll tell you later. Let's finish the last step first. Lu Chengkong was actually quite clueless. To be honest, he was just a god of death who had just reached the level of Wang Shu. After the knife was swallowed up, the strength soared to Wang Shu's high level close to the peak, but after all, it has not reached the peak. He is still uncertain whether he can reach the spirit void level at once after swallowing the Spirit King. After all, he advances a bit quickly. Fortunately, his foundation is very solid, and his soul is very pure without any impurities, and there is no problem with his realm. He is just worried. When he was about to break through, his stamina was insufficient, and he couldn't keep up. This was what Lu Chengkongjing was worried about. Sophie, Yi, Bachenliu, Nilu, you all go back first. all the gods of death in the Spirit King realm have been taken away by us, but the Wangshu guards in the virtual realm haven't yet. I think Wangshu guards should be returned now. We're attacking Jinglingting. Lu Chengkong only remembered something at this time, and immediately gave instructions to the Bachenliu girls. Okay, come back soon. Bachenliu also knew that things were slow, so she didn't lose her temper as usual and refused to separate from Lu Chengkong, and even took the lead in opening her black voice and jumped in. Feng Yuan Yi or two girls jumped in after taking a look at Lu Chengkong. Don't worry about breaking through. This moment can only reflect the mind of the flower. This is a body of the spiritual level. If you swallow it with the strength of the quasi-spiritual virtual reality, you can reach the level of the spiritual virtual 100%. The strength is definitely far beyond the Spirit King who just broke through to the Spirit Void level, but she doesn't look like she wants to swallow it. Instead, he walked to the side and signaled that Lu Chengkong could start. She would give Lu Chengkong the appearance of protecting the law, and it was not unreasonable to blame her for always being able to suppress Wangshu and King Ling. Okay, Lu Chengkong is not hypocritical. Compared with this, it was negotiated from the beginning. If you swallow it yourself, it doesn't matter if you don't reach the quasi-spiritual emptiness level. The strength is greatly improved, and it is safer when the plane is pierced. And Mao Zhawali seems to prefer self-awareness or breakthroughs in life and death battles, and seems to have not been much interested in swallowing the Spirit King or Wangshu. Not only that, but Lu Chengkong knew that Mao Jihualir was more powerful than Nelia Lu, and that Nelio had devoured other gods of emptiness or death after reaching Skrito, but Mao Zhawali went from being a human to becoming a human being. The god of death, she has never devoured any god of death or emptiness until she finally reached the level of quasi-spiritual emptiness. In her words, her path of cultivation does not lie in swallowing. For her, swallowing may advance quickly in a short period of time, but it is obviously not a good thing for her future development. Especially when Mao Zhawali knew that there are more powerful existences in other planes and that Lingshu is not the end, he strengthened this idea and determination. Every life's path to become stronger is different. Mao Zhawali's path to become stronger is a little bit of Taoist Zhongjung and peace, one step at a time, accumulating a small amount of hair, never impatient, very stable at all times, never appearing insufficient stamina. Of course Lu Chengkong could see that Mao Zhawali didn't deliberately give him such a reason to make up such a reason, so he was not hypocritical. Devouring, Lu Chengkong thought, and the Spirit King's body immediately turned into a ray of light, violent, and directly sank into his mouth. Immediately, Lu Chengkong only felt an explosive force surged up in his body, preventing his body from being affected. Controlled expansion. A rising terrifying aura and spiritual pressure erupted from his body, causing Ujawali on one side to immediately release an isolation barrier in the space near Lu Chengkong. Chengkong, I hope you can succeed. Mao Zhawali looked at Lu Chengkong with burning eyes, but she kept her spirits in her heart. Although she knew that no one would disturb her, she was very attentive by nature. Let yourself reveal any flaws, and will not allow any possible accidents to appear, and completely eliminate these accidents. 717-718 Breakthrough Spirit Void completed today. Paralysis. Why is it so easy for the Spirit King to break through after swallowing Wangshu, and it's so painful when I swallow the Spirit King? Lu Chengkong only felt that his body, including his soul, seemed to be swelled up, and the constant expansion would be unbearable and explode at any time. How did he know that the Spirit King and Wangshu, as the first god of death, the first virtual life corresponds to each other, and there is no pressure to swallow each other? There is no situation where the force is too large to absorb and it will explode. Absorb it for me. At the critical moment, Lu Chengkong thought of the situation where he killed the Spirit King just now, and immediately concentrated all the spiritual pressure in his body into his dantian, which was continuously compressed to form a high-speed rotating small vortex. There are plenty of places to accommodate this sudden surge of violence. However, this kind of violence is really no trivial matter. No matter how Lu Chengkong controls the spiritual pressure in his body into his dantian and merges it into the vortex, new violence will immediately fill the whole body, and the kind that fills up all at once, makes Lu Chengkong the small whirlpool in the dantian in the sky is getting bigger and bigger. Fortunately, this violence is not endless, and with this violence as a blessing, Lu Chengkong found that he is now a bit like a cultivator condensing the mana in his body into a golden core, but he is not a golden core. Not mana, but a small whirlpool, a whirlpool spinning at high speed all the time. Click. Just when Lu Chengkong thought that his whole body was saturated with spiritual pressure, he didn't notice any changes in himself, and he didn't seem to have made a breakthrough and was ready to give up, when he suddenly heard that his body was not healthy. There was a cracking sound. At the same time, Lu Chengkong only felt that his body and soul had something unsealed. A huge spiritual pressure burst out from his body, forming a spiritual pressure storm that wrapped Lu Chengkong's whole body. At this moment, Lu Chengkong finally understood the mystery of breaking through the void. He also guessed that Mao Zhiwali should also know the mystery of breaking through the spiritual void, that is, to accumulate a huge spiritual pressure, and then compress it to the lower abdomen dantian, so that the spiritual pressure can be transformed from gas to liquid and then solid, forming a similar gold a little like Dan. Ultra-concentrated spiritual pressure, and Ujawali also knows that she is lacking in everything now, and it is very simple to break through, that is, to continuously accumulate spiritual pressure. After a certain period of accumulation, it is a natural breakthrough. Even if Mao Zhiwali's road to becoming stronger is to swallow, she does not need to swallow Spirit King or Wang Shu at all, not to mention that her cultivation path is not swallowing. Rather, it is stable and peaceful, and the most important thing is stability and balance. Mao Zhiwali doesn't need to be swallowed at all, it only needs time, and the most important thing Mao Zhiwali lacks is time. Since sooner or later, he will be able to break through to the spiritual level, so why should he fight Lu Chengkong? What Lu Chengkong needs to swallow, and Lu Chengkong is obviously taking a riskier road to become stronger. If Mao Zhiwali's road to becoming stronger is like Taoism, then Lu Chengkong's road to becoming stronger is very similar to that of the Devil's Way. He uses the spirit of capturing thousands of souls for his own use. Although the improvement is rapid, it also comes with it. On the other hand, it is an extremely huge risk. It will be controlled by power and control in minutes, and it is very normal to become a monster. Of course, if it was Lu Chengkong, of course he wouldn't become a monster, but it was normal for him to explode with uncontrollable power within his body, so Lu Chengkong always struggled to become stronger. This is not because he likes adventures or because he fights hard, but because he has discovered the way he can become stronger early on. This is the way he takes. Only this way is the most suitable for him, and it also allows him to go further. Road. Closer to home, the terrifying spiritual pressure storm covering Lu Chengkong came and went quickly, and disappeared in less than 10 seconds. Lu Chengkong's figure was also revealed, his eyes twinkled, and it was incomparably deep, like a black hole, making people uncomfortable. Looking at it autonomously, the mind will be sucked in, and the breath of the whole body is restrained, almost no different from an ordinary person, and the power of the terror structure is all restrained. Did you succeed? Devouring you is really the best choice, but your path is a double-edged sword. The speed of cultivation is fast, but it means dancing on the tip of the knife all the time. It's too dangerous, and will die at any moment. Mao Zhiwali looked at Lu Chengkong with a bit of distress. Maybe all this was forced out. In the dangerous environment of the One Piece King of Pirates world, his potential was bursting all the time, and finally let him go. On such a dangerous road. Don't look at Lu Chengkong's current beauty, but one day if he relaxes, it will be the moment of his fall. It can be said that he must wake up 12 points at all times, not to let his heart relax, not to let himself have no courage, the determination to fight, the determination to face danger, and the determination not to be afraid of all crises. Therefore, Mao Zhiwali, who knows the most and knows the most, is very distressed to Lu Chengkong. Except for her, he has no idea about the scenery. How much risk, how much hardship, and how much Lu Chengkong, who is surrounded by beautiful women, how much pressure. Let's go, everything is over, and you will be able to travel through plains soon. Lu Chengkong took a deep look at Mao Zhawali, but he was shocked, but he quickly recovered. He didn't expect that he had never told anyone in his heart that Khalifa and Hancock had never told them, lest they be worried, unhappy, and sad things were actually noticed by the flaming-eyed Hanalai, but it's no wonder, it's normal for her to see who is dying. I'll keep it a secret for you. If you bear it alone, no matter how firm your heart is, you're still tired. I'll help you share the burden. Mao Zhawali's smile is as warm as the spring rain that nourishes all things in the wind and drizzle, nourishing Lu Chengkong's heart, making Lu Chengkong's heart under tremendous pressure almost all the time at that moment, as if he has lost a warmth and a sense of security that can make him feel at ease. Come down and rest inside the arms. With you here, I won't be tired. Lu Chengkong's slightly wrinkled brows also loosened, as if being smoothed out by Mao Zhawali, but he said stubbornly. Mao Zhawali smiled nonchalantly, threw himself directly into Lu Chengkong's arms, buried Zhen's head in Lu Chengkong's arms, and for a moment let the edge of the soul realm exude a warm atmosphere. No one said a word, but each hugged each other. It can be said that silence is better than sound at this time. 718-719 destroys 6 girls and returns to One Piece, King of Pirates Part 1. When Lu Chengkong returned to Xiao Lingting, he found that there were traces of sabotage everywhere in Xiao Lingting. Zakagi Kenpachi was covered in blood, but his eyes were sparkling, and there was a hint of excitement in his eyes from time to time. It seems to have gone through a very satisfying battle. When he was in the Spirit King realm, Zaraki Kenpachi solved his opponent and found that there was no opponent he could kill with him, and it seemed that he could not help much by staying here, but would become a burden, so he returned to the Soul realm. And what made him extremely happy was that he had just returned to the Soul realm and found that all Wang Shu's guards in Wangzuji had come here. Immediately, as if the dry land meets nectar, he rushed over excitedly and directly grabbed a high-level Wang Shu guard from Skrito to fight. After paying a certain price, he finally killed the Wang Shu guard and swallowed Wang Shu. After the guard, he directly reached the peak of Skrito's mid-level. Originally, before he returned to the Soul realm, he defeated and devoured the Zero team member he met in the Spirit King realm, and then let him go from the initial peak of Skrito to the intermediate level, and now he has devoured another Skrito high. The rank Wang Shu guard made him suddenly reach the peak of Skrito's middle level, and he was only one step away from reaching the high-level Skrito. As for the other Wang Shu guards, they were originally deadlocked. After all, many Wang Shu guards came. The overall strength of Wang Shu guards was comparable to that of Team Zero. Now they are all here, with Matsumoto Ranju and other women. The strength can be tied with so many Wang Shu's guards, and no one can take advantage of the other, and the stalemate is already very great. Later, after the return of the 8,000 girls, they immediately got the help of the new force, and killed all the Wang Shu guards, and those high-level Wang Shu guards of Skrito were all swallowed up by Matsumoto Ranju, although Matsumoto Ranju did not finally make peace with them. Nellie L reached the level of a virtual king like that. Because Nellie Lu was originally a high-level Skrito, and Matsumoto Ranju was only a mid-level peak of Skrito, even if there were 8,000 Ryu who passed on the spiritual pressure to the past, they only realized the disintegration and reached the quasi-virtual level. The king's level is not a real virtual. After all, Bachanliu's spiritual pressure is only to help her break through when she is insufficient in stamina when she is attacking the virtual king level. After breaking through, it will be recovered. Lito's middle-level peak to the quasi-virtual king is already very defiant, but after all, he lacks stamina, and he has crossed so many levels at once. Fortunately, she is extremely talented. If it was replaced by other people, she might directly explode, let alone comprehend the disintegration and get the Void King level. If Matsumoto Ranju's original strength is as high as Nellie Lu, she can reach the Void King level. There is absolutely no problem, but in the end it was only a chess move, but Matsumoto Ranju was not unhappy or discouraged at all, but smiled and looked very happy. Victory, our Saraiti has won. Now Saraiti's death god is so lively, even the old man Yamamoto is full of tears. Although he didn't defeat Team Zero, but as a god of death who loves the Soul Society, he can kill the legendary Wong Zugard who can fight against Team Zero, and it's all done in one go, so that Soul Society will never be seen again in the future. Can Kai be unhappy without facing the threat of Wong Shu's guards? When will you go back? Sophie Marceau's sense of belonging to the world of One Piece, King of Pirates, is obviously very big, at least much larger than the Plane of Death. Maybe she was originally from the plane of One Piece, King of Pirates human, maybe because she once shared Lu Chengkong's memory. She also didn't care much about this plane that had many places similar to the country that Lu Chengkong disliked in her previous life. Although the two were not much related, they were simply similar, but Sophie Marceau still didn't care much. Now all the abilities and strengths of my One Piece, King of Pirates plane have come back. It will take a while to sort out. In addition, my strength has just broken through, so I need to consolidate and stabilize it, but it will be soon. Although Lu Chengkong's answer could not satisfy Sophie Marceau, she also knew that traveling through a plane was not a trivial matter, and even traveling back to a plane that was weaker than here would be a certain risk. In the case of so many people, of course, you must be fully prepared before going. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 years have passed since the Battle of the Spirit King. After returning to Sarange, Lu Chengkong, Nellie Lu, Matsumoto Ranju, Sifenjin Yaiki and others all had it. Great gains, all made breakthroughs, so they all stayed in Lu Mansion to completely stabilize their strength. Especially Lu Chengkong has made such a big leap and regained all the abilities of the One Piece, King of Pirates plane. Of course, he has to sort out the abilities of both his planes. Don't get rid of everything that is not needed. Therefore, for more than 10 years, everyone in Lu Mansion was busy with their own affairs and did not pay attention to the passage of time. This night, it was time for Lu Chengkong to leave the customs. After he came out, he dragged all the beauties and wives in Lu Mansion except Sophie into it without a word. All burst out at once, from the beginning of Matsumoto Ranju to the end of Usually, feeding all the wives around him. He handed over all the food that he had saved for more than 10 years at one time. Fortunately, Lu Chengkong was strong in combat. Otherwise, he would really not be able to withstand this group of wives who were even crazier than him. "Mom, it hurts so much." "Ah," Kurosaki Yuko cried out in pain, tears flowing out, and Kurosaki was busy beside her and kept distracting her by asking for help. Kurosaki Natsumi, Hikun Kiryu, and Toru Yuyan all had expressions of pain and happiness on their faces, and their lower bodies were still bloodshot, so they knew that Lu Chengkong was going to kill them all tonight. "It doesn't hurt or doesn't hurt, just look at Charlie, see Charlie's bravery." Kurosaki really blushed when she said this. She could handle Lu Chengkong's various tricks, but saying such things in front of my daughter is a bit of that, even she can't stand it. Maybe it was because he didn't want to lose to his sister, maybe it was because of his mother's encouragement, or maybe it was after a period of relaxation. Kurosaki Yuko reluctantly took over the pain. As the girls like Fel Ben Ranju and the others twisted their waists without any teacher before, the movements were cute and attractive. However, Yuko Kurosaki is still young. Although more than 10 years have passed, her body has not changed in the slightest, and she still maintains the appearance of a little lowly, not to mention compared with women such as Matsumoto Ranju, even Higen can't compare. An hour is not enough, and he screamed, and Kurosaki Natsuri, who was relieved, was hugged by Kurosaki and fell asleep in his arms. Bachinliu on one side seemed to finally be in a hurry, and jumped over as if relieved. When she moved, the princess dress wrapped around her immediately shattered, and her pink and tender body fell into Lu Chengkong's arms. The dragon that Lu Chengkong was not satisfied with was hugged by her at once, and at the same time, Lu Chengkong couldn't help but let out a soft cry. "What's wrong, Bachinliu? Can't help it." Lu Chengkong stared at Bachinliu. He never realized that Bachinliu had developed super affectionate feelings for him early in the morning. Maybe Bachinliu was covering it up. That's great. He has always maintained the innocent side, or even if he is discovered, he is subconsciously ignored. 719 Chapter 720 Destroy the 6 Women and return to the finale of One Piece, King of Pirates Part 2. But today, when she just left the customs, Bachanliu seemed to be more impatient than herself and pulled herself over directly, but after that she did nothing, instead asked herself to bring other women over, and then she sat down obediently. Looking at Lu Chengkong's battle with wide round eyes on the side, he just jumped over until now. I really don't know what the hell she's up to. HMPH, I can't help it, but I just want to see how they do it and give myself a perfect sex. Bachanliu wrinkled her lovely Chong nose and pretended to be very experienced, but with her constant change for 10,000 years, her appearance that she has never grown up is too cute, charming and a bit funny. Lu Chengkong took a breath, looked down at Bachanliu, and found that her cheeks were already bulging. She actually learned how to play a jade person like the first-class girl of Saifengyuan. That compact, slippery, and looking down at Bachanliu, the impact made Lu Chengkong feel extremely comfortable. Well, I'm doing well. Bachanliu raised his head after a while. There was still ambiguous liquid left in the corners of his mouth, but he looked at Lu Chengkong as if he wanted to reward Xiaofan, with a hopeful expression. It looks like she wants Lu Chengkong to praise her. It's very powerful. It was the first time that they were even more powerful than Yi Yi and the others. Of course Lu Chengkong would not let her down, and Lu Chengkong didn't lie. Bachanliu watched it for so long today, and he still concentrated on stealing the teacher. In addition, I used to stay in the room for a long time. When I was bored and looked at myself, I watched a lot even if I didn't intend to. Apart from being a little rusty at the beginning, it was already working in a few seconds. Comfortable, just like a master in general. Of course, I'm Bachanliu, how can they compare to me? Bachanliu laughed happily, the two blushes on her pretty face made Bachanliu look charming. Lu Chengkong really liked the charm that her little fan-like body didn't have now. I'll come by myself, don't move. Bachanliu sat astride Lu Chengkong's body, looking indifferent, but the depths of her eyes were still a little timid and shy, but of course she was not on the surface. It will be exposed. After straightening the dragon, he closed his eyes, gritted his teeth and sat down. The intense pain caused her to cry out. A trace of delicate blood had already slipped on the sheets. Not long after Lu Chengkong cooperated with Bachanliu's twisting, the creaking sound of the bed was extremely alluring. The groans and low gasps have been mixed into the sound of nature. The next day, Lu Chengkong directly removed the power of the seal on the ring, and Khalifa and other women inside also slowly opened their eyes, but Lu Chengkong did not let them out, because if they came out, there were only two ends. Ordinary people who become the plane of death or be obliterated. You must know that he and Sophie were almost wiped out at the beginning. He didn't want his wife to take this risk, and he was planning to go back to the One Piece King of Pirates plane. Lu Chengkong reached the level of spiritual void and knew that by fighting against the laws of the world learned a lot of untold secrets. From high-level planes to low-level planes, such as the One Piece King of Pirates plane from the Death God plane, the strength is strong enough to be able to travel between planes. Of course, coming to a low-level plane can resist the laws of that world. Passports, regular entrance so absolutely nothing. But if the women from the lower planes like Khalifa in the ring come out, they will not belong to the life of the plane of death. Without the imprint of life on this plane, there will only be two fates, either they will become ordinary people in this world, or they will be obliterated. Because they did not come directly against the world law of the plane of death, it can be said that they do not have passports. They can only be regarded as stowaways. Once they come out, they will be caught. If they are caught, there is a 50-50 chance, or good. Yun joins the plane of death to become an ordinary person and start over, or directly obliterate. Lu Chengkong can protect them and fight against the laws of the world, so that they will only become ordinary people and will not be obliterated. Might as well be safe inside the ring. If the power is erased, unless they leave the plane of death or Khalifa and other women to cultivate to the level of Lu Chengkong, otherwise, if Lu Chengkong helps them to forcibly break the power of the seal on their bodies, they will be immediately obliterated, so Lu Chengkong is just over the years. The matter of the Death God plane has directly entered their minds so that they don't have to worry and know that other women in the Death God world will not be so good at that time. Goodbye Kenpachi, if you reach my level one day, come and visit me. Of course, if you have time, I will come back to visit you. Lu Chengkong said to Kenpachi Zengeki in front of him. Behind him was Kuchiki Shanghai, Hepingzi Mako and other members of the masked corps. Lu Chengkong's best friend in this world was Kenpachi, followed by Kuchiki Hibiki. He and Hepingzi Mako, in the end, are the people of the masked army, and the others are dispensable. Hey, don't make it seem like the atmosphere is so serious. You guys seem to be able to come back at any time. Don't make it look like you are parting from life or death. Hiriko Mako's words immediately dispelled the atmosphere of parting, and there is a banquet in the world that does not end. This they still understand the truth. That's right, hehe, when I reach your level, I will fight with you. Zaragi Kenpachi grinned Isho, but his eyes flashed a trace of reluctance, but he put it away in a flash. He's not a bitch, not so indecisive. Okay, I hope you won't be defeated by me in a few more strokes. Lu Chengkong accepted it with a smile, but he was disrespectful to such a challenge. Okay, everyone, there is a feast in the world that doesn't go away. Goodbye. Lu Chengkong waved his hand, but the women such as Mao Zhawali went into the ring and chatted with Khalifa and the others. Obviously, Khalifa and the other women had nothing to do with the women such as Mao Zhawali. The world is also curious. Even with the memory of Lu Chengkong's intrusion into their heads, they couldn't help but keep asking questions to Wu Zhawali and the other women, and the stiff face that Chirping had expected didn't appear at all. Instead they seemed very active. Click. Lu Chengkong flew into the sky, and punched the space to pieces, forming a passage. After the basic solution, he used a kamikaze howl to protect his body from top to bottom, and then jumped in directly. He's gone, let's go back to the bar. Hiriko Mako glanced at the restored space and took the lead. Okay, Mako treats the guest. Kuchiki Shanghai rarely showed Ice Block's face, and hurried up. The others looked at each other, and hurriedly followed after hearing Mako's treat. Hiriko Mako, who was walking in the front, kept bleeding in his heart. He regretted it. If he knew that if he didn't say this, he would bleed again. His money was all in charge of Hajiri, and now he managed to save it. Private house money is definitely gone. On the plane of One Piece, King of Pirates, a relatively large plum pirate ship docked near Laugh Tale is having a banquet, surrounded by a group of pirates, one of whom has a very young body with a white beard. After drinking a glass of wine, the very tall man laughed and said, "Refreshing, this kid is indeed a monster." After entering the black hole, he not only survived, but after he went to another world, he made that world turbulent, and now the horror that has become stronger has returned to this world. You're right, but it's not that you don't know that he is a person who specializes in creating legends, and also exists to attack people. The red-haired Shanks said to the self-bearded beard beside him, and others, such as sitting here drinking Sengoku, Kuzan, Garp, etc. nodded in agreement. Not to mention that these old immortals drink and live happily here every day, but on the other side, what Lu Chengkong is talking about is, of course, enjoying his wonderful life, 2 large beds, and One Piece King of Pirates on the other side. The wife of the face, and the wife of the death plane on the other. But without exception, they are all full body, revealing snowy skin and jade skin and lying on the bed, each with a satisfied smile, blushing and blurred faces, as if they have experienced a very comfortable thing just now. At this time, the only 2 people who didn't sleep were, of course, Lu Chengkong and Sophie, who was lying on top of him and being pressed by her. Don't be so hard, this is the first time. Ah, it hurts. I won't squeeze you dry. Suddenly, Sophie cried out in pain, and she was very dissatisfied with Lu Chengkong for a while, but the latter didn't care at all, but smiled smugly, which made Sophie gasp. It's just that the pain of breaking her body for the first time made her not in the mood to think about how to revenge. She could only endure the pain and twist her waist with a coquettish look that would drain Lu Chengkong. Chengkong's production site couldn't help but spray it out. Fortunately, Lu Chengkong took a deep breath and suppressed the urge to spray. Although he had defeated so many wives at one time, he wanted to come with a beginning and an end. So many wives came together and it happened every time. Can have fun. Come on, Come on, I hope you have this ability. Lu Chengkong laughed happily. It was a bombardment of her waist facing Sophie, and Sophie was not to be outdone and continued to cooperate with Lu Chengkong. Once it started, the man who created countless legends started his happiness again, and envy the lives of others.